to match, so every action has the potential to completely shift the lane advantage. For many champions, you'll want to consider buying early mana regen items. Grab a Chalice of Harmony, stock up on mana potions, or pick up a Doran's Ring or 3. Speaking of Doran's items, they may be the default start for modern League players, but they're significantly weaker here in Classic. Try starting with boots and some potions instead to keep up with those early trades in lane. It also takes much longer to get back to lane, so plan accordingly. Forcing an opponent to recall will give you the space you need to set up your minion wave, or put in some good work in the tower as your opponent loses out on CS. Pressing those early advantages is also easier because turrets are way easier to kill in Classic. Taking one down will happen early and often, and can quickly snowball into more gold, more ganks, and more pressure on the enemy team. And speaking of pressure, don't forget to pick up some extra wards for vision, which you can buy separately from trinkets.
I knew you would do that.
After all, nothing ruins a good laning phase faster than a surprise 2v1. So light up those bushes and stay safe out there, summoners. Don't say we didn't warn you. Seems like everyone knows how to jungle these days. But do you remember these guys? They're back, along with the rest of the original Rift. If you want to survive in the land between lanes, here are the 5 things you gotta know about jungling in League Classic. Start the game with the Hunter's Machete. Trust us, you're gonna need it out there. In CVs, health potions. If you don't want to die, you better buy. The classic jungle is a lot deadlier than the one you might know today. You'll need to play smart to survive. That's why you should always ask your teammates to leash the first camp. This is an ancient and honorable ritual where your buddy in the nearest lane takes a quick detour to damage the monsters after you pull their attention. Remember, the sooner you clear, the sooner they get a gank. You'll also need to plan your jungle route carefully and keep an eye out. Jungle camps respawn much faster in Classic. If you want to maximize your EXP, you better BRB after ganking your backing. When you're ready to recall, buy an upgraded jungle item first to keep those clears going strong. Madrid's Razors or Spirit Stone are both good options, and you can keep upgrading from there. You'll be a roaming menace in no time. Finally, you'll need to make the most of your mana as it does not regenerate nearly as fast in Classic. Optimizing your ability rotation and not wasting cooldowns on nearly dead monsters will noticeably impact your clear speed and ganks. And separate the good junglers from the great ones. Now get moving. Red buff is up, and that Lizard Elder ain't gonna slay itself.
Split 3 introduces the most impactful format change of the season, the Swiss stage, where seeding and championship points can make or break a team's year. Top 4 teams from Split 2 playoffs face the bottom 4 in the opening round. After that, teams appeared against others with the same win-loss record. Teams continue playing until they reach 3 wins and qualify for playoffs, or 3 losses and they are eliminated. Following the Swiss, BO5 seeding matches determine final placements. The top seed earns the right to choose their playoff opponent between the 3rd and 4th place teams. In the playoffs, 4 teams battle through a double elimination bracket for 2 spots at Worlds and the right to be called the 2026 LCP champion. Additionally, the team with the highest championship points secures a Worlds berth, rewarding year-long excellence. The LCP promotion series returns in 2026, with 2 guest teams required to defend their place against champions from the region's domestic leagues. But this time, championship points will be a determining factor in which guest teams have to defend their slot. The pressure is on across every level of competition. This is the League of Legends Championship Pacific. Let's show them what we're made of.
不要求什么啦，希望可以有一波完整的团战就好。
对于对面的杯体感到很有意见，
没错，
他已经打过了，
相当肮脏，
他先玩过。
不能找这种老手来。
对于他来说，你不太应该是那个老手吗？
没有，我是人老了。
那你呢？有认老吗？
我是老人。
打新版的我应该会赢他。
红手我打漏的时候，你还在妈妈咋扣呢？某一个老人，不管什么版本，我都会打爆你。
Out over Hongshu in the mid lane has that ult level advantage.
There's the ignite going down. Hongshu's flashing away, but in comes.
Nice， 哇哦，他不会玩，那个卡特正常是买9瓶药的。
我不是阻止他，打爆他。
And they liked it so much. Oh, okay, so BA just died in the replay?
Yep. Yep, he had a Zillion bomb on him. He got tagged up.
喂，好痛啊！完啦，好痛啊！
I had actually forgotten this, but I noticed it during this play. Gragas E is not a stun in this version. It's a slow.
完啦，好恶心啊！他这个。
やっぱりアニメとか漫画だと古代兵器って大体すごく強いですから、今日は僕が皆さんに古代兵器をお見せします。
In trouble. Look at the damage of the old Fiddlesticks ult. Emmy trying to get under tower, doesn't have access to Soraka ult. Few seconds off it, does manage to get a W down. He's gonna live, he's gonna clean them up. I think he gets both here as he'll just walk forward, ult himself. The drain isn't good enough. BA, there's nothing to do.
你點快？還嚟翻呢？哇！你cái này nè. Nice 啊
，OK nice。
Này mấy ông già chơi game, lần này tôi sẽ đá gãy của mấy ông.
Sniffs it out, will chase him down on the other side of the fight. Emmy gets him hailed. They need to get him quickly before he can get any more heals off. They manage it.
Nice， 五招怎么说？哎，你没大的急，你没大的。但好痛哦，那也太痛了吧！哦，哇 ！UCI。OK， go mid。怎么说？翻的人感觉。
been too long as he does see the damage is coming in, just moving forward, shredding through North Eddie there as well. Definitely trying to proc that W. Does well, but gets one shot by Maple on the outside. Hongshu can't find too much more. It's 2 for 2 at the moment.
我猜啦，我们会输。
稍微预测一下会输几个头
5到10个吧，我算7个好了。
对。
啱啱，有，我講緊字度，我好啲換一佢。哇！我得。nice， GG。
看来当年真的是酒桶太 OP 了。
通常在1年，
说到 OP，
我没有感到给白不给，知道吗？
老人队还是打这种旧玩还是太权威了。
まあここまで勝つというか、まあそもそもねメイプルさんがキャリーしてくれたんで、メイプルさんシェイシェイ。
你自己讲的。
又给你装到啊。这样拍好了。
But here we go, Dustin.
The 1v1 inside comes out on top. They have to. Here comes the hero's entrance. They have the.
各位好，我是那姐任科。
thì tụi em sẽ tới đó và chứng minh.
The international narrative of League of Legends is that Western regions couldn't compete unless they brought something special.
Denmark meet Caps!
Caps is inarguably the greatest Western player of all time. Any record you can think of for Europe, Caps has it.
엄청난 선수라고 생각합니다.
He was dodging literally every spell.
여기로 던지면 저쪽으로 가요. 어우, 화가 나는 거예요, 그냥.
Even back then, Caps saw the game in a different way.
I could tell Perks was feeling fear for the first time having to play Caps.
Oh, he just solo killed Perks!
Very bad memories.
We have a new superstar. This is the European hope now.
You're a player and you look across the stage and they're just laughing. And you're sweating for your life.
There are players at home right now. They're seeing those European players and they're believing that they can do it too.
We can do this. We can go even further.
Caps 就像是旗帜。
For players like Faker, Uzi, and Caps, you never really take into account years of finding ways to reinvent yourself to get back to the top.
Where were you when the West rose up?
Welcome everybody to another night of the LCP. We're at the pointy end of the season and I couldn't have anyone better here with me than Pike. How are we tonight?
This guy, yeah, I'm good, mate. It's been a long day, but I'm rearing and ready to go for another week of the LCP. Thursday nights, they're always a vibe. It's always starting off strong. How are you doing, Carrix?
Oh, I'm doing great. I have been waiting for these games. We are, as I said, we are at the really important bit of the split to decide who is going to Worlds and who will be taking home the trophy.
That's it. Like, that's the trophy. This is the pinnacle point, right? We don't know who's going to be going where. These games are really the big deciders, right? This is where these teams want to start putting that flesh out and really start to dig away at their opponents, because it's no longer just the physical of being in these games, but it's the mental. Is, like you said, it's the pointy end. You have to be so cautious with every move you make, and everyone's watching and scrutinizing. So it's going to be one of these big series, especially tonight.
Yeah, exactly. Of course, we do have CFO, our first seed. They took down the Team Secret Whale Tyrants, so they got their pick of the litter. They took MVK, is who they decided to go up against. What do you think of that decision? Do you think they made the right call?
Yeah, look, I think it's a bit of an interesting one, right? I think CFO, obviously being first seed is such a big thing here. I think MVK was a smart call. I think Garm has been looking good, but maybe you go for the opponent that might test you a little bit too. We think Viking are at some point very similar to CFO, but I think CFO have been putting in so much good work recently. It makes sense that this is their matchup, that they probably feel confident they can take this series, where Garm is a little bit of a wild card. You don't really know what they can throw out or what they can do with Vikings. They have been very consistent all the way through Split. They've been good consistent, I will reiterate. They have actually been really good. That's why they are our third seed. So I think they've made a wise call.
Yeah, it was funny, of course, looking on social media when CFO got that win. Both MVK and Garm were posting, ooh, pick us, throwing their hands up. MVK ended up getting what they wanted: Kratos, Guri, Chica, Haki, and Sulong. But have they bitten off more than they can chew? We'll have to just find out tonight.
Oh, look, I think it's a really good question. Have they bitten off more than they can chew? The answer No, this is a team that's been looking really good all year long, not just split long, all year long. They really revitalized their roster. They haven't wavered in that. Maybe a couple little substitutes in the top side here and there, but besides that, this roster, very new, very young players, and that is what you expect from the LCPs. We're a very fresh, new region, willing to try something different, and I love that Vikings have really stuck to their guns here, and this team has been getting results.
Yeah, they really have. This is a team I've been incredibly impressed with. As you said, they've been extremely consistent. The only issue is a team that I don't think consistency is the right word, but its form at the right time is CFO. On the other side of this bracket, our first seed, Rest, Shadow, Pout, Doggo, and Kino are hitting their stride exactly when they need to.
Yeah, and you can put that on the back of every single one of these players. They all know exactly what their mission is. I think these coaches that you see on your screen right now are looking absolutely fierce. They know exactly what they're drafting. They're not afraid to go outside the box. I've been saying this all year long, Carrix. If these teams and these rosters find new unique picks outside of the meta, they can make it work because the playstyle is so scrappy. So I love this, and I think a lot of the benefits on this is going on to Pout and Doggo, who've really been stepping up, but so has Rest. But now that we're talking about AD carries, let's look at our featured matchup as well, Carrix, because we are going to be looking at these AD carries. Now, walk me through a little bit of detail.
Well, Haki and Doggo, I think, are going to be a linchpin of where this matchup is, but there's one stat that I really want to drill down to, and it's the KDA, because 3.3 for Doggo, people who maybe have only watched the last couple of weeks, this split are going, what do you mean he's only at 3.3? He went like 18-2. His KDA is so low. Not that it's terrible, of course, but it's because he had that slow start to the split and has now exploded. If you narrowed this to maybe just the 3 last weeks, I think his KDA would be like 8 or something. So Doggo is a real threat.
It's sleeper numbers, Carrix. That's how I would describe it. Everything here on the screen on the side of Doggo is sleeper. His CS, yeah, might be somewhat accurate, but it's not that far behind Haki. In saying that, I want to look at Haki for a second. I think they are playing exceptionally well. I think they're playing for the team is definitely the way I'd put it. They're definitely prioritizing these mages in the bot lane. It's very traditional meta right now where we are just finding these mages that pair up, let the supports roam. So I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a little bit more priority for the side of the Vikings to get the Camille, get the Shens that are just going to go walk about and leave Haki to their own. I was going to say demise, but that's probably not the best way to put it. Maybe just leave them to their own initiative in this bot lane.
Yeah, for sure. And these ADCs will be drawing our eye. But we do want to just quickly throw to a fun little moment that happened in the LCP arena. So if you are in the area, if you're over in Taiwan, or even if you want to make a holiday of it, the LCP arena has plenty for you. They're giving out these like packs of cards that have all the players on them. And if we have a look at this one.
Hold on. Okay, so the cards,
see what we get.
Of all the teams and the
they're
players,
like sports
correct?
cards for the players, yeah.
Ooh, wait, they got someone. They got is that a hit? Ooh, hold on. Why can't I get any of these cards? Look at that shiny
crazy.
one.
Can I have a full art Kio?
Oh, look, give me where a Doggo would be in. That's very shiny. You know what? I just love that there's cards everywhere. Can we get like a LCP trading card? Oh, my, hold on. That's him. He's signing the card. What a me.
That's so much fun. Just get the 1-of-1 signed card. This is why we go down to the LCP arena. You got to get down there. You got to enjoy all the things that have been put together. And maybe you can walk away with a signed card of your own.
Oh my lord, I love it, Carrix. That is just delightful in of itself. And we are going to be starting to see a little bit of the arena too. We're coming back to this featured matchup because you know what? We've got more to say. No, we don't. Still, let's look at this. Let's look at these two teams as we get onto the stage, Carrix. This is what we've been waiting for. It is getting very feisty out here.
It really is, but we have to stake our positions, of course. We have to tell everyone what we think, and then we have to defend it. But thankfully, we agree. We both have taken CFO in a 3-1. Now, Pike, what's your reasoning? I wonder if it matches mine.
Okay, my reasoning is somewhat similar to what I said before. CFO are just better at throwing the goop at the wall and it's sticking. And now the wall's being built and it's a lot harder to be knocked over. So I think CFO, they're just going to have some wildcard plays. They're going to unleash Doggo, get him off the chains, and he will just be a menace on the map.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much exactly what I think. I think CFO have just been showing a really, really high level of play. They took down Team Secret Whale, something that no one has been able to say for an unbelievably long time. I think they're just in better form at the moment, and this is a really, really difficult matchup for MVK.
Yeah, but in saying that, I think MVK have been showing really strong strides regardless. And I sort of touched on it before, but now we have a bit of time to flesh it out. This team, yes, very rookie, very young, but we can't say that probably anymore after this split. I think once you've sort of spent a year in a pro scene, you're not a rookie anymore. You are a pro. You've spent your time. You've found your footing, you might say. This team has been looking and consistently working together on all fronts. Now, if I had to get nitpicky with it though, Carrix, and again, I don't nitpick too often unless I really have high hopes for these sorts of players and teams, is I want this team to start pushing a little bit harder. I think they've been playing a little bit too reserved in their gameplay. It's good, it's clean, it's very fundamental, but I think this is the LCP. We like to throw and shake things up. I want to see this team try and embody that a little bit more.
Yeah, I do agree. I think that has been my biggest criticism. If they have these very clean early games, but don't necessarily close the games out as cleanly and as quickly as they can, which can lead to just opportunities for the opponent to catch up. It's the last thing you want to do. If you're ahead, don't let more objectives spawn. Don't let the Dragon Soul spawn. Don't let the Elder Dragon spawn. We'll have to see if they can push that tempo today.
I think that's the big thing, right? Like, we got to start seeing, will Vikings actually push through and be a bit of a menace for CFO, or is CFO actually going to be able to take this momentum they've been building up over the last couple of weeks and split and push further? But we're just going to have to wait and see, I think, Carrix. There's a lot to break down, but who knows? Like, do you think, you know what, quickly, who do you think is going to take first game?
First game, I think that's MVK's best chance. I think they can come in really hot. They can dazzle us in game one and maybe make us regret our predictions. But we won't know that for just a little bit. We have a little bit of a break to get excited, to get hyped, to see who will be going to that upper bracket finals, because here in the LCP, we're made for this.
欢迎来到 LCP Arena 季后赛第一天的赛程，由 MVK 向上挑战 CFO。在前面的赛事当中 ，CFO 可以说是如日中天，成功的抗越成功1穿3。但是千万不要忘记了，上次两队的交手只是有 MVK 先下2盘，代表他们的爆发力十足，千万不可以小看了。马上就欢迎双方选手进场，上路 Kratos。 打野 Guri Shadow。中路 Chica Pold。下路 Harky Dogo。辅助 Sula Kino。教练 Suffolk Chowie。今天谁会落入败部，而谁又会直接前往和平篮球馆呢？比赛正式开始。
Welcome back. We are on stage. We are hyped, as we always are, from Tommy, as MVK and CFO get ready to proceed into the postseason. And Pike, I couldn't be more ready.
Mate, I just want to get those cards. I don't know why we're getting hyped for this series. I'm thinking for the LCP cards. Like, Tommy's throwing me under the bus. He's calling out Rest's name like he's a god, and then he's not sharing the loves of the TCG, of the LCP. Come on, man. I'm trying to rhyme here, and I can't even get these cards. But you know what? You're right. We're here. LCP, we're in playoffs, characters. We're looking good. CFO, first seed, up against our third seed, the Vikings. And you know what? We had a little bit of a fun chat in, like, the little split time there where we weren't on. You were saying some pretty hot, spicy things about CFO. I'd like to hear what you're saying as we get into this draft.
Well, I said, and I'll say it on the record, I think right now CFO are playing better holistically than Team Secret Whales. I don't think it was just that was a little bit of a happy series, given it didn't impact everything a huge amount. It was just seeding. I think they're playing at an extremely high level, and I'm going to steal what you said, but I'll give credit. They are playing at a level that is ready for internationals.
Yeah, that was exactly where I was going to go. Is I think this is the team CFO. They've already been to the likes of Worlds. They've been to some major events across the seas. I think this is the team that's now saying, okay, we lost some good players. Let's get the rest of them up to scratch and get them ready to go. As now we can focus on the bans here. Carrick, Syndra, Pike, Locke taken out for CFO. On the other side, we do have Ezreal and Cassiopeia with the final ban about to come through.
Yeah, it is also worth noting we have moved on to 26.16, so we should see a little bit less emphasis on the mage bot lane, maybe moving a bit more to our traditional marksman. That said, honestly, these teams had not, particularly CFO, had not been huge on the mage bot lane as ever, so it might just be patch notes saying +2 AD to Doggo.
Yeah, look. Why not? At the same time, it does raise other questions across the map too. There is one champion that has risen in heavy priority of recent times. By recent, I mean it's actually Nasus. Funnily enough, that champion at the moment, if you look at its stats, is giga OP and is just unkillable. But now we're seeing the picks coming through. Rise locked in. Rumble now picked up for the top side. Yone? What?
Slamming the Yone game 1 as the Rise counter. Chica throwing down the gauntlet.
I love it. Fate sealed, baby, and it is sealed here tonight. These two teams want to confirm their way through playoffs with the Neferi now being locked in there, most likely for the jungle for CFO. I love this mobility we're going to see out of Shadow, and of course the Cassante. You cannot forget it when you're up against a Rumble.
I think the Neferi pick is really good. if you ignore the other side of the draft. Shadow's had really high level performances on it. It's a very, very strong champion. But what I'm scared of is Jarvan's available. This combo is terrifying with a Jarvan. They might... Guri doesn't necessarily prioritize it incredibly highly, so maybe they bypass it here. But I feel like if you just go, Jarvan goes in, you put the Fate Sealed and the Equalizer on top, you just kill whoever gets hit.
Well, I like that. I think that is a good call. You could go something for like the Vi as well, like if you really wanted to. I think that's got a bit of a later game sort of pick. Yeah, Wukong's another fantastic solution here. Getting a good Cyclone off just stalls the people when you get them locked down, which means the Fate Sealed's going to land on top, followed with an Equalizer. Vikings have got a very kill-hungry comp going so far. They just need to pack it up with a really strong AD carry and support that can continue the fight, because there's not much tankiness for Vikings right now, so it tells me there's something of the Rel, the Alistairs, maybe a Nautilus to kick things off.
Yeah, I agree with you. I would love to see, I think Nautilus would be a great shout here, maybe even one that has to get banned out. It might be too good as Lucian is removed. We're going to target Doggo's champion pool. Makes a lot of sense. He's been very, very scary on this Lucian.
Problem is how do you ban out Doggo right now? Like, if he wants to, he can pull out the Samira. He's been making that work. Like, you've only got 5 bans for Vikings, Tarix. There's only so much you can do.
Yeah, it's pretty tricky as we just lose. Oh, no, it's back. Never mind. It is hard to ban out all of Doggo as Jhin is removed. I think they're going to try and target ADCs for Haki that can be roamed away from, and I like that a lot. With this sort of kill combo already set up from the first 3 picks, I think you want to try and force Sulong to stay in lane.
Yeah, no, definitely do. We'll have to see as we're still waiting it out. Don't worry about time, guys. It's just a thing. But I'm curious to see what it's going to be pulling out. Like, there are still strong champions right now that can be pretty solo in that bot lane. Corki, for one, is a pretty solid choice, especially early on. We have seen the likes of like a Seraphine too, so if you wanted to land a really sharp encore, that is like an AP carry we have seen utilized as well. Top side's very heavily picked, but what would you be picking in these AD carry roles, Carrix? What do you think?
I think for the side of MVK, I do want a champion that we can roam away from. Jin's gone, Ezreal's gone. Those are the 2 obvious ones. I think something like Corki could make sense because, of course, we don't necessarily roam away at like level 2 anymore. The 26.16, they did change the support quest to really punish leaving your lane super early, so you don't have those... I'm on Camille, I'm on Poppy, I'm just going to go hit the enemy top laner, hit the enemy jungler at like level 1, and I don't care if I don't hit level 3 for ages. That's not so much a thing now. We do need to stay in lane for a little bit, and that's where I think Corki can be good, because Corki does need his support very early on, but once he's kind of got all of his abilities, he's got the Valkyrie, he's fine.
Yeah, nah, so true. I think there's other lanes that we haven't really spoken about as well, Carrix, and we probably do need to go through them. With the priority on the AD carries being potentially banned out, supports really jump up in priority. Remember, you got like a lot of engage here as well. Poppy is a good answer into the Neferi.
Yeah, Poppy is a really good answer to Neferi. You're super right. She got a little bit of a tap on the patch, but I don't think it's enough to take her out of the meta. She was just extremely strong before, and now she's maybe more balanced. I'm going to use some... world building skills to think maybe Talia's been picked up, as that is a potential just mage bot lane that can just go down there and be relatively safe, and maybe a Yunara as well.
Yunara Lulu definitely open if the Lulu wasn't banned out. It's definitely a strong set of champions. I was actually going to mention that the Yunara, if we want to give that over to Doggo, it's a hyper carry champion. Give it 2-3 items, it's going to be popping off in the mid-late. But regardless, you can somewhat leave it alone. They're very happy to sit down there and farm up a storm. So I like this as we do come back to draft as it is in. There is the Talia, and there's the Alistair that I thought was the right answer. I love this front line being meshed in, but I think the Talia is a really strong pick here. It's doing such a good job as that AP carry, and the flick back with an Alistair is going to be very easy to lock people down.
Yeah, totally agree. Also, the Toblerones are really good against Neferi. Makes it hard for her to... She can still get in, but she takes damage for doing it. It can make it harder for her to sort of reposition around fights. I really like this. I think the only problem is Doggo's on a hyper carry. He's not on the big movement hyper carry like the Samira, but he is on a hyper carry Pyke, and that's a little bit scary.
Yes, that is the truth. Whenever we see Doggo, we do not want to give him hyper carries. The downside, and I said it before, it's quite a few hyper carries, especially in Game 1 available. So it makes a lot of sense that they're starting to move towards this and giving Doggo a little bit of that ease towards that bot side. But I think this team scales really well. CFO have drafted exceptionally good because Nefiri can carry them in that early game. They just wait for Ryze and Yanara and even Cassante to really come online. And then how do you really kill this Cassante? You need to be dealing a lot of damage. There needs to be burn damage on this Taliyah, not just on the Rumble too. So I think it's going to be an interesting draft. I'm curious to see how quickly Alistair's going to die. That's a big question of mine.
Well, how long does his ult last? Like 4 seconds? So
long enough.
4.2 seconds. But we head onto the Rift for Game 1 here of MVK taking on CFO. MVK with a big task today. Will they be up to it?
Oh, well, will they be up to it? I love these sort of hypothetical questions. It's like, where was that dog once? You just never know, you know? It's crazy like that. They say how long is a piece of string. I know how long that string is. I don't need to tell you. Stop asking me questions, Carrix. But still, we're in the game. We can see what's going on. Let's look at the mid lane, because I love the Yone pick here. It's nice. It's different. It's a change of pace. What do you think?
I mean, it's coming out a little bit more often now, and I really like it because I just don't know how you answer in the side lane now. I feel like you just... Who do you send into the Yone if he decides to go to the side lane? You want to send the Ryze. He can clear waves, but he's under constant threat of just being murdered.
Yeah, look, and that's it. And Yone does a really good job getting into the mid-late game too. Once they get those 2 crit items, most likely after a balk as well. What can you really do? The 100% crit comes on, and bada bing, bada boom, a fate sealed is all she needs. It's all about working your way through the early game. Pout does have the range advantage. You can already tell it's quite a few minions already down and secured. So it's a bit of a stall, really, Carrix.
Yeah, I think look, early on it is melee into ranged. Not the most fun time for Chica. He'll be okay though, just able to sustain through with that Doran shield, just live through, and I think it'll be around maybe level 4, level 5 that maybe you look for Guri to come in. I don't think you're looking to kill Pout. I mean, obviously you will if you can, but you want to blow his flash really importantly. As this is aggressive by CFO. They're just moving straight into MVK's jungle, and Guri's just going to have to surrender this. There's no way for his bot lane to help.
Yeah, even Kino is just walking straight up onto these Krugs. Might be looking for something as the smite does go through. Still going to be picked up by Guri, but missing out on the red, that's pretty impactful.
Yeah, it's really bad. And Shadow as well, he's gone red to red, so he can just go straight back into his own jungle, pick up his own blue buff, his own camps. He's going to be significantly ahead around first gank timing. And have a look as well, Rest has walked into the opposition jungle and warded the Gromp. They're going to have a massive read on where Guri is and how far behind he is.
That is the big thing, right? This is what we talk about in the LCP is jungle tracking is so critical because these junglers do just like to move around. And I love that Guri is now just looking, saying, okay, I don't have anything up. What can I do? I'm just going to go look for maybe a scrap and steal something away as well. Because here's Guri now finding the blue, and here's Sulong looking for a chase as well. Shadow is going to get caught, does headbutt them over the wall. Now seeing if Guri's going to just snipe it away, and they do successfully. And because Sulong's here, it's a reverse play. The fight in the bot side jungle for blue is now turning into a fight in the top side jungle down in the blue side as well. I love this. It's really nice proactive play from both sides.
Yeah, I like it a lot. In the end, Shadow does defend his blue. They didn't want to sort of flip the whole game on a random 3v3 around a blue buff. I don't necessarily blame them for it. I don't know if they would have won that one. But still does well, gets a crab as well, so they're not getting the despicable double crab. So Guri should be all right. He'll be a little bit behind, but he'll be fine.
Yeah, nothing wrong with crabs. They're pretty tasty. Depends on the seafood dinner. Depends on how fresh they are, and those were pretty fresh. So it's definitely, I think this game is going to be very heavily surrounding the actual junglers themselves and how quickly they can come online. Like, again, they're both equal in CS right now, so they're farming at least well, and just the vision, like you called out, is so big here.
Yeah, I mean, my dad's a fishmonger, so I'm always happy to talk about crabs. But I totally agree that warding is going to be mission critical. And that sounds a little bit reductive because every game warding is mission critical. But when you have a Neferi that wants to get active early on, same with a Wukong, when you have a Realm Warp, when you have a Yone with really, really snappy roams, it just becomes even more important, especially because I think we want to isolate this bot lane. I don't think either jungler necessarily wants to play into this. This is a bit of a shut up and scale lane.
Yeah, no, that's so true. They're also just sort of waiting for their item spikes, I think, is the big one. You can already see Cheek has picked up 3 daggers, just trying to get as much attack speed as possible. Most of the time when you do play the Yone, you do need to pick up your boots nice and early. Now, in saying that, you have to be very careful of what boots you go for. You can go for berserkers, you can go for that movement speed and that attack speed, but a lot of the time you get so much more agency out of something like the Merc Treads, as really nice knockback into the headbutt. Pulverize is good, but still long had to heal to get out of dodge because look where Shadow was, waiting in the wings.
Yeah, really lucky that Shadow was there. I think there was some kill potential onto Doggo, or at least making him burn maybe his flash. So just good jungle timing, as Guri will be spotted out by the ward. They haven't actually seen that there yet, but should be able to sniff out that they knew something was up.
With Doggo at the helms, the power of sniff is very good, because dogs have exceptionally good smelling powers. You know what? I don't know what's happening. Well, kind of. But now, okay, a bit of a fight going mid. Looks like Chica is taking a beating again. That's expected in this matchup, especially with Pout landing so much and Shadow landing just as equally a match. But okay, looks like they're looking for a bit more of a fight. Straight up into the air. Haki is here. Doesn't get the flick. The Unraveled Earth not going to be able to do its damage, but now they're looking over a scuttle. This could lead to level 6. So there it is. Guri's going to pick that one up first. Now Rest has to be careful. Equalizer drops. See if the Cyclone's going to be good. And there's first blood heading over to Kratos. It was just read so incredibly well by the Vikings.
Yeah, Rest just had no counterplay offered to him there. They just TP'd Haki into the mid lane. They overloaded that part of the map. And they play it perfectly. He was looking for an all-out to just get over the wall and try and run away, but there was not a single frame of downtime between their CC. Excellent play there by MVK.
And look at the wave that was missed too. Didn't have the TP up. It's just about to come off cooldown, so missing almost a wave and a half there is just going to be actually so critical, as Kratos has picked up a nice little lead there, 700 gold, and now it's just shy of a 1k gold lead for Vikings after that first blood. So again, this is the slow, methodical gameplay we have been watching and seeing all split long from the Vikings, and they're making it look good.
Yeah, but we need to see that next step, right? We need to see them turning this into objectives and putting the pedal to the metal, because, yeah, they've played the lanes really well. They've eked out just a small lead, but it's a lead that I don't know how much they would have expected having in the early game. I think, you know, you've got a range versus melee matchup in mid. You would expect Rumble to win lane pretty hard, but I think with how Doggo's been playing, you wouldn't necessarily have been expected everything to go perfectly down there. But now you just need to take the next step. We need to see a dragon picked up. We need to see all grubs. You don't have to get both, but let's get at least one, and Guri's got it started.
I think Guri's making the right call. Obviously, looking towards that later game is okay. Rest just soloing Haki. Okay,
we praised him too much.
Rest was just like you get first one on me. I'm fighting that. Like I refuse to go down.
Did you forget who I am? He picks up a kill onto Haki. Not what they wanted at all. He'll get a fair bit of damage onto this tower, some tower plates to himself, as Shadow on the other side of the map picks up the grub. So the objective trade is complete. Let's have a look at how this one happened. I mean, yeah, fair enough. He just got hit by the Pathmaker, and then you get flashed on. There's not a huge amount of counterplay. One big mistake by Haki, and I was gonna mention it, and then I was like, no, I don't think it's mattered. Ooh, so we come back. He skilled his Talia ult up before he was intending to use it. This is like a thing that a lot of Taliyah mains know. I'm sure a lot of people know it, but sometimes, maybe some people don't. When you get hit as Taliyah, you can't use your ult. It has a lockout. You can only use it when you're not in active combat. So what you do is you just don't skill it up, and then if you're in a fight, you're like, oh, I need to ult. You skill it up, it's not locked out, and you instantly get out of dodge. He didn't hold it, and he gets punished.
Not ideal, but look, sometimes even the best, they can falter, and that is A-okay in my books. As a still 1-1 scoreline, gold hasn't really moved at the 10-minute mark, but we're starting to see more objectives coming up. It is going to be a Cloud Dragon in 3.5 minutes, 5 minutes to that infamous Shelly. We're jumping out onto the Rift too, but items across the board starting to look good, and we're seeing the Berserker Greaves out of Chica here. Look, I do like this. It means they're going to be playing very aggressive. And I wanted to talk about this Yone once again. Now that the Void Bombs have been picked up, Carrix, it's going to be a very similar but different tale. I don't think we're really going to see Chica ever being potentially in a huge team fight, maybe until later in the game. I think they want to sit in the side lane. They want to get these 3 items and just be melting towers. It's a very known thing to see with Yones, is they don't need to fight. They can just take you in the 1v1 and they'll win out most of the time.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I think the best thing for MVK is that who do you send to stop the Yone? Well, your choices are Ryze and Cassante. But frankly, if you can say, okay, our Yone's not in team fights, in exchange, your Ryze isn't in team fights, I'm pressing that button every day of the week. And speaking of buttons, SOFM has just chimed in for the 3rd coach comp. That's all he'll get this game. He's been doing this a lot. Where he will just burn the coach comms very early in the game. What do you think about this?
I don't mind it. I think it's definitely interesting. I think as we get closer towards the world stage, you might even say, where you can't do this, I think this is just really smart to keep your players on track. They say the more you keep doing something, the better you sort of get with it too. If you do have your coach comms and they're feeding you good information and helping you stay relevant on the map against these teams, it's going to become secondary knowledge for these players, and I think that's a good thing. I think it's just coaching them a little bit more in a live capacity is really, really nice.
Yeah, I totally agree. There has been a lot of discussion around coach comms. I noticed that teams like CFO very rarely use theirs, same with Team Secret Whales. You can say, well, they're our top teams, they just don't need them. It's true to an extent, but it's also practicing for international. Getting ready to, as you said, environments where you can't use it. A team like MVK, they do need to prepare for international, so burning them all early instead of having them as a crutch, I think really works. But you've also got to get there. So using them at least a little bit, I think does make a lot of sense.
Yeah, so true. Let's take a little bit of a health check around the map though, Carrix, because we've got some items on the board completed up, and the one that I'm looking at is the mid lane, jungle, sorry, is the major focus. We've got a Triforce completed for Guri, who is actually about two waves technically up, but in the jungle it's about 3-4 camps almost. So they're looking quite strong at the moment. They're definitely feeling good, especially going into this next fight, which is probably around this dragon in 45 seconds. But look at Shadow, picking up that volcanic sword. They're going to be doing quite a bit of AoE damage too.
Yeah, exactly. That sword has just revitalized Neferi, a big part of Neferi sort of coming back into the meta as much as a force as they are, is that Voltaic Cyclo sword. It just does so much damage as a first item. But being matched into a Triforce, the fact that both of them have their first item on similar timings and one of them's a Triforce just shows Guri is farming really, really fast. He's a whole level up.
Yeah. And that's just enough, right? This is what we wanted to see from Vikings, is not just slowing the tempo down and waiting for the game, but to push the tempo a little bit further. As you can see, both these teams hovering dangerously around this dragon.
Yeah, I was pretty smart there by CFO, just leveraging that they have more range on their team to get early vision control, but has been swept back. I'm waiting for a Realm Warp here. I think Pout could be the one to turn this fight.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I don't know if using that aggressively is going to be the call, as Vikings doing a really good job. They're moving up on the objective with only a 4k health, but Chica is here, maybe looking for a cross-the-wall Fate Seeker as they're trying to get that knock-up, not going to land. Has to go straight back into the Soul Unbound. Now it's all about stacking up those nados. I see Pout is taking a bit of damage, did have to burn that Ghost. looking for something. Cheeky getting jumped on. Shadow is here, face shield hits too. Is it going to be enough? Shadow goes up into the wall, over the wall with the flash. The cloning's being looked at. There's the T-pings, and then it is going to be stolen away. Vikings secure it. The knockup's great. Shadow's being burnt off the backside as well. Doggo can't hold on. Chica gets them across the wall, and now it is all she wrote. They're trying to hold them back. Nice roll mob catches them out, but Pat can't be there for too much longer, and it's just way too much damage, and the Vikings are looking good. Kino's flashing away, and Chica coming in so clutch in that fight.
Chica's the best player in the world. What is he? That was a master. I cannot wait for the replay. When the replay comes, you just glue your eyes onto Chica. I know there was about 5 different vectors of that fight, but I could not take my eyes off of him. He just put on a Yone masterclass. And MVK, they get the dragon. They get a kill. They have to be ecstatic with how that went. Let's have a look at this replay. Because I actually think this starts out not how MVK wanted. Pout doesn't really get fended off, and they go, oh, we can collapse on Chica. But he stuffs the first engage from Shadow, lands the 2-man ult. And you go, okay, maybe he's done enough. But look at how he plays in the back of the pit. He's got a Cassante coming in, just uses him, dodges the Pathmaker, charges the tornadoes, goes over the wall, Soul Unbounds back over so Doggo can't finish him off until he lands enough damage, and then he's not done because Pout comes in, but he's still got the Q3 to get him on the flash to make sure the Rise goes down, and at this point he's life sealed up enough and he's able to just survive the all-out, can't do anything. We come back to live and they're going again.
Yeah, Chica had with that, forcing the wild growth out of Kino. It's just push, push, push now. You got the Bork online, and there's the damage to show how good Cheek is performing in that last fight. And it is true. Doggo also did equally as well, but just didn't have the same level of impact. And that's just, honestly, I'm surprised the gold lead isn't more for Vikings right now.
Yeah, it is actually pretty interesting that it's not. It is, I just think that Doggo got a few tower plates early, has been farming up a storm, so he's sort of keeping the gold close for CFO. But the tricky part is he's going to need some time to come online, and it's not easy to play a reasonably immobile AD carry into this comp as under the tower we go.
Nice field onto rest. It's going to be enough. And he's just getting shredded too. The Bork is just doing his job to all out, taking him away from the tower. And Chica picking up another kill. First tower secured here for Vikings, and now it's time to bring DK, the Drift King, sending it up towards this mid lane to secure some more tower plates. They might even be able to lock the tower out. They can't, but still, nice work from Guri. He's going to just get even more gold, and that's the acceleration we wanted. And now Vikings are up 1.7k gold after that.
Yeah, exactly. They put their foot to the floor, and they push CFO back. CFO look a little bit stunned. I don't think they've mounted a particularly good answer. We just saw that Chica just kind of got a couple extra tower plates. He doesn't know it, but he actually could have kept pushing. It's a good call by him not to do that. Of course, we have a bit more information given that we have observer vision. But he just pushes in, gets even more gold. He's nearly 1,000 gold ahead of his lane opponent. I think this is a real statement early game from MVK.
Yeah, and I'm here for it. 2k gold lead, 5 kills to 3. They're definitely holding their own. They're trying to push the advantages across the map. They're just hitting these towers, burning that crystalline growth. Shadow up here just for a little bit of good measure, but look at Rest. He's getting shredded now. The Immortal Shield Bow being picked up for Chica. The survivability is going to be huge in these team fights, along with the lifesteal. At this point, how do you catch Chica?
Good question, but there might be how do you catch Rest?
It's just too much. Guri picking up their first kill of the game, and Sulong tanks that tower for a ripe old age, and it looks like they're going to pick up another tower here, Carrots.
Yeah, exactly, and they just keep accelerating. CFO, I think this time have answered as best as you can. They've just got their 2 carries, hitting towers, mining as much gold as they can. As Chica is going to have a go onto Doggo, but sees Kino and thinks better of it.
Look, if Kino wasn't there, and I was that Yone, I'd be taking that fight 10 times out of 10 times. I would not stop. You're so fed. 3-0-2. Yeah, you've only got 850 gold up, but you are so strong. 2 items at this stage in the game. You have to be scared.
Yeah, I think you really do. I think the one good thing here for CFO, as I don't think you can fight this dragon. I think you may be letting MVK go to Soul Point, but I'll come back to this point as we do see Shadow having a think. Realm Warp's committed.
Yeah, 5 members strong down towards this bot side. Be very careful. They make one false step. It could spell disaster for Vikings, but they are sort of backing off. 3k help could be the 50-50 split as the TP play. Raiders trying to join into this backside anyway, as it is going to be picked up. Vikings lock down the fight. Sulong goes back in, headbutt, face steal, does piss, was only on to right from the backside. Doggo picks up Sulong. Now they're looking for a little bit more. It's a 5v4. The Unravel Earth does keep them at bay a little while longer. Team is great. Cyclone on the backside. Vikings Chica. It's all too much. The double kill. Let's see if we can make it a triple, as Pat is the next person on the block. Triple. Couldn't get the quadra, but from what was played, it should have been there. Chica absolutely smurfing on CFO.
Chica, where have you been, mate? Like, don't get me wrong. I think Chica's had an incredible split. But this game is electric. I thought, oh no, maybe we've gone too far, because this Fate Seal only hits onto rest and then immediately snaps back to his soul. It's like, not exactly what we want, but Pout had no access to this fight. It's a fantastic play by Guri that sets Chica up, just landing that enormous Wukong ult, letting Chica layer the damage over the top of it. It's a bit of a two-man show here, and it's one I'd buy tickets to.
Wow, we got first front row seats to these tickets as, okay, look, we're seeing a lot of work out of this Rise. The damage is good, but the rest of it's so consistent across the board. And now Vikings have picked up Baron, the first one of the game, and Soul Point confirmed. They can just play this game as is, but it's only a 5k gold lead in Carrick's. That's the only sad thing. Look, I'll say only just because, like, yes, you have Soul Point, yes, you have Baron. At this point, a lot of teams are a lot bigger than this.
It's true. I get what you're saying, but I think this is a really dominant performance from MVK. They're going to have a go onto Kratos, but they're not really close enough. Oh, never mind.
Oh, no, they're close enough, all right. Shadow just had a lot of them, but they spent so much Carrick. So much was used just there to pick him up, but taking one Baron off the board, nice pickup for CFO.
It is a really good pickup. The fact that one of the solo laners, one of the people that could be in a side lane using the Baron buff is taken down. They'll get an inner tower as well, so you're trading one against the flow. Really good play there by CFO to sort of staunch the bleeding. We can see it's now a negative gold Baron power play. They're down 1,000 because of how big the shutdown was. I don't think this gets here in time. Oh, Shadow does get stopped.
Fulog found a Shadow waiting in the dark, and he's not going to be long for this world. Caught underneath the tower, and it should be a nice pickup there for Haki.
Cool guys don't look at explosions as they just let the tower finish it off. Doggo will get some gold back for himself. Doggo could still be a win condition for CFO, as he is a very, very wealthy Yunara.
Oh yeah, we're heading towards that 3-item spike. We're sitting at about 40% crit here, Carricks. It's not too bad, but with a Kraken and a Hurricane as well, this is what I talked about with Doggo. They've just been playing very quietly. They haven't really needed to be too big in this game. Now they're going to be looking for a reset. They've got the BF sorts. They're on their way to that IE. Once that's locked in, we will see a lot more from Doggo in this game.
I think this game is going to come to a little bit of a binary pass-fail state for CFO. Does Doggo have access to fights? Because Doggo is having to play incredibly safe in fights, and he hasn't really been able to do very much in these fights. And it's not really his fault. You just can't step up when there's a Yone and a Wukong just ready to just destroy you. It's going to be how well they can peel, how well they can set Doggo up and play the back half of fights. If I was to predict, there's going to be fights where two members of CFO will fall quite early, but can you play that second half of the fight? Because if you can, Pout and Doggo can take over this whole game.
Look, and yeah, that's exactly it, right? And you've also got Rest, who's going to be a very big meat shield, but only has that one item on board, probably looking for the next one. You know what? There it is. I'm just waiting for them to come through. But Dragon Soul is available in 30 seconds, Carrix. It is a mountain. Imagine that on the likes of an Alistair. That's going to be a big meaty cat you have to get through. Shadow already being hit at by Haki. Realm Warp is going to be used. We'll have to see where it is taking them. It is going to be down to that bot side, so Pout all alone there as they're looking for the re-engage. There's a great equalizer dropping on their head. Face still lands onto the rest, but has to be pulled back as the Prism is good. Sulong taking a lot of damage, so Vikings might have to just concede this Dragon. I think they sort of overextended a little bit too much.
Chica does have TP, so he'll be coming back in on full health. Doggo chunked just a little bit. Both teleports committed.
Yeah, double TP, and we're just waiting as Alice is trying to heal up a little bit more. Guri being looked at by Rest, so Sante trying to be that menace. Here comes Chica, catches Shadow up on the wall, but Sulong off to the side. Nice Realm Prism is good. Rest taking a beating too. Guri needs to survive. They just need the smite off as Rest is in the middle of the pit. He's going to go down. Haki is going to pick them up. 2k health. Is it a double kill going over for Pout? Let's see if they can hold on. It is going to be mountain secured, but the shutdown is just as good as Shadow picks up this Yone, and Chica could not hold on, but they took their prize and now they're running for their lives.
How much gold would you pay for a Dragon Soul? Would you pay 3,000 gold?
Ooh.
Because that's what they've done. They've paid 3,000 gold, but they have gotten a Mountain Soul.
Yeah, I don't know if a Mountain Soul's worth. Well, actually, it's worth a bit of gold.
It's worth a fair bit. But I think it's a little bit worrying. You now got that level 16 on Pout. Full stacked Rod of Ages. More gold going over to Doggo. This game is a lot closer than it was just a few minutes ago. It's actually CFO with a gold lead. Let's have a look at this replay. Chica just doesn't have ult here. If he had his ult, I think they instantly win the fight. And also, Pout had access to the fight. In the last Dragon fight, he was stuck on the wrong side of that river wall. This time, he's in there, he's one-shotting Haki, he's taking down the Rumble. Makes a huge, huge difference when Pout just positions much more aggressively.
Yeah, I think that's a big part, right? There's the damage. It tells you Pout was just doing everything, and we talked about it in the early game. CFO's team here will come online as the mid-late game comes in. We're in the late game now. It's 27 minutes into this game. Yes, you have a Mountain Soul for Vikings, but now you're almost 1k down. They're looking potentially for a bit of a cheese. They're trying to catch out Rest. Vikings looking to get that nice little Hex Splash over the wall, but we're going to pull back and just clear out as much vision as possible, Carrix.
Yeah, they're just going to settle down for a moment. They, of course, can do this little Baron start dance, and it'll only chip away at shields for at least a little bit. This is... Ooh,
could not find Rest. Not asleep just yet. He is waiting, but that little stall, Carrix, stalled out the Baron. So now it is going to be looked at once again, but Shadow's back in the wings.
Realm Warp was also used just to get vision to make sure they weren't still hitting the Baron. There's
looking for a bit of a steal. Chica on ground, goes over the wall, have to fall back as they are going to be looking low. Nice headbutt kicks them out, and I think they just have to back off the damage a little bit too much. Rest is low. They secure the Baron here too. Kratos goes golden, but I think CFO can walk away with their lives, and a nice pickup there for Vikings.
Yeah, unfortunately, it was the version of the Baron that has what I like to call the runway. And you're into a Rumble. You don't ever want to fight against a Rumble when that's the access that you have to the pit. You're trying to walk up. It's such an easy equalizer. They just play the zone game perfectly. I like that they didn't overcommit as well. I think there was a moment there where they could have pulled the trigger on an engage, but Chica was not in position, and I think they would have gotten heavily punished if they'd gone for it.
And I think Sulong played it really well too. The second they saw that Shadow was coming in, Sulong knew the mission, get them out of dodge, headbutt them away, and then that's just enough to go, we don't have the time now. We've missed the window, and now we've just hit the wall. So we weren't able to get through that. Okay, now Haki could be caught out. Shadow has found them. have gone into that brush. They did spot them out, but they knew something was awry. Maybe didn't have the path that they needed. They're going to back away.
Yeah, I mean, Haki did have wall, so could have surfed out of there. So good call by Shadow, not overcommitting. Would have been punished pretty hard by Guri. So far, both teams pretty high level, I've got to say. As Chica commits that ultimate, but doesn't find anything.
Yeah, couldn't find Kino, and did use that soul unbound, as now they're forcing out towards this top side, but 5 members strong of CFO. They're holding this line as best they can, but do not forget, Kratos is in that mid lane, still pushing with the Baron buff. Second Baron of the game means that they are going to get a little bit more off this. Even just the chunking out these base towers is going to be really good. And again, this is what I talked about. Leave Chica to their own thing in the side lane. What can you really do but overload that lane and then sacrifice the rest of the game too? So I think Chica's making a really good play here, sitting off to the side, using that Baron buff, just impacting the map.
Yeah, but I think MVK will settle here for just getting all of the non-base towers. I don't think you want to overextend on this Baron buff into try and cracking the base. I think you back off now, spend your gold, and then you have about a minute to set up for Elder Dragon. I think, you know, this is not one of those games where we can end it before that spawns. We will have to fight around Elder.
Yeah, no, you talked about it literally in draft. This is a team that they sort of wait a little bit too long and they flip these objectives in not the greatest way. So we'll have to see if CFO is going to maintain this really strong control. But looks like they're looking at Doggo. TP's coming in. Haki's gone a little bit too deep for my liking. Has to flash away. But Doggo is not going to go down without a fight. He's going to be picked up here by Guri. Equalizer does drop on top of their heads. Is going to be enough. Chica off in the wings. Does have the Fate Unseal. We'll have to see if they can be able to use it. His rest is gone. I talk about this team waiting for these elements for the Dragon. The damage is good. Fate Unsealed onto the backline is good. Pout has to go golden at 1 HP. They're able to lock him down once more. They pick up another. The killing spree is good. Shadow goes up in the air, holding on as long as they can. The damage is just too much. The flash over the wall, and Shadow gets out alive. But 3 members versus 2 on CFO means that they have to back off.
They have to back away, but Elder Dragon is about to spawn. Sulong uses that pulverize. They kill Chica.
Shadow looking for more. Says, guys, I will not let you back under the circuit. Double kill going in. Shadow's looking so strong. Might be looking for Guri because remember, Elder is up. One small misstep could be disastrous. There it is. Has to clone over. Shadow says, nah, I don't think this is for us right now. We'll wait. We'll wait.
Yeah. Shadow just so much stronger at this point, just purely damage-wise than Guri. They cannot fight him unless they have Chica there to just bring the damage and try and one-shot him. But now Doggo's back on the map.
Yeah, now the spell as well has gone down, so the vision's going to be a lot harder.
They're giving it.
And I think they have to give. Yep.
They're just giving it. This is, I mean, it's such a risky decision. I think it may have been forced. It might be correct, but you're now playing into Elder. This starts, I think, look, Haki went way too deep, but I take this trade. I take that deal. You lose your Talia, but you gain the Yunara. That's a fine start. Where it all goes wrong is actually it's about 10 seconds deeper into this replay when they, A, they don't get Shadow, and B, when Pout is able to press his Zhonya's. Look at the extra damage it deals. They're waiting around for him, so Chica takes another tower shot, Kratos takes one, they take a double daggers from Shadow, which procs Guri's GA at the same time. So much extra damage is caused by the CC not quite being enough to kill that Rise before he can press Zhonya's, and now this is just lazy.
Yeah, not respecting that Shadow's walking up and has that ability to just do as much as the Dark and Daggers are causing. Look at the damage there too. That is their tank with a Mountain Soul character. With a Mountain Soul.
Exactly. I mean, Shadow seemingly does not care about your Mountain Soul. When a fight's that extended, he's got Black Cleaver up on everyone. You don't actually have that many resistances. So this game is suddenly very, very close. Or let's say in a minute, it'll be very close, because no game is close when one team has Elder buff.
Yeah, so true. But I think another item on that is the Serpent's Fang. Everyone now has a shield with that Mountain Soul.
True.
That shield means nothing when it comes to this Nefiri, so I really like this. And there's also a Lord Dom's now picked up here for Doggo. They're well online. They're sitting at 75% crit. With an IE, like, this team is in the late game. They are looking strong. They've got the anti-heal. They've got the tank shred. They just need to be unleashed here on the map. A TP now coming through Sulong, just with a little bit more, just fingernails, but with Elder and now Baron Carrix.
Yeah, they leveraged the end of the Elder buff to just make it so that there is absolutely no chance for MVK to contest the Baron. CFO, they'll be arriving at the enemy base, and I don't know how we can repel them.
Repel is usually the bug repellent here. Unfortunately, Carrix, there are no bugs on this screen. I'm sorry, guys, there's no Kha'Zix here today, but it does not matter because CFO, they're pushing down this mid lane. They are forcing their way in, but also look top. You can see Pout soloing up towards this top side and no one's responding. They've even pinged it for Shadow, take it towards half health. He's going to find a little bit as Doggo taking a little chunk off, but again, Pout's very happy with this. Re-engage coming from Guri, looking for more. Wild growth is good. Doggo holding on, just blasting from the past. Nothing they can do. Guri's being picked up. The stuns are even better. CFO, they are online and they're looking for as much as they can. Double kill here for Doggo. Cannot pick up the triple, but that is 3 members down here for the Vikings. And yes, Mountain Soul was good. It was not worth that 3k gold as it was switched all the way again. The TP's coming in. 5 members with Baron. They have the wave. They have the moves. They're looking to get the Zhonya's. Pout is tanking up. They're looking to re-engage. Haki cannot survive much longer. Kratos, only golden member, but a statue nonetheless picked up here. And CFO, they take this game. It didn't look too easy at the start, but it looked real clean there at the end. An 8k gold lead at 35 minutes after, I think, 1 or 2 minutes of being equaling gold. Carrix are very impressive.
Yeah, as soon as they got their feet under them, they ran that home. CFO is such a class team. If you give them an inch, they will take a mile. And unfortunately, MVK, they just couldn't keep it clean. A fantastic early game just doesn't translate.
That's exactly it. It was looking so good at the start. They were looking strong. They were making great plays. Chica was absolutely unleashed. And then we got to the late game. And I think that one misstep of backing in the wrong spot, catching Chica out, just gave over a free Elder, which translated into a free Baron, which ended in a free win.
Yeah, exactly. They just made all the right moves. They got their late game scaling online. The Yunara and the Ryze were able to navigate the fights, and then as soon as they started posturing aggressively, it wasn't enough that Chica had a great game. The rest of MVK just couldn't quite get it done.
Yeah, you can even see the damage here was looking so good, and it was actually Pout playing just that little bit better. Chica had some flashy moves, but flashy moves don't count too much if you can't close out these games. And the gold graph as well here, Carrix, just a bit of a roller coaster, but at the end there, it was just bada bing, bada boom, and they just took that game right as they wanted to for CFO. But 19 kills to 15 is a decent scoreline, very aggressive game.
Yeah, I agree, as this was an interesting way for things to start, and that is someone that I think had a quiet game. Unfortunately, it was Haki. I mean, I just want to watch this team fight again. I'm just going to shut up for a moment, as this was the Chica masterclass. I know he doesn't get over the line in this game, but this team fight, whoa, put it in the Louvre.
Put it in the Louvre. Why not? Send it to France. Call me Shirley, because you're right, it was bloody good. Going back over, nicely played there, and Chica wants to get back into this fight instantly. There's the roll-up, saves the Q3 just for the end there. Gets Pout 2. You're right, that is a Yone masterclass right there, because now they're back over the wall once again. They're looking for more, but now we're starting to see the really good fights around these dragons that we saw in the early game. And it was just a couple of these that, yeah, in this one, Vikings, they got the dragon, but they didn't really get the fight.
Yeah, exactly. This was the time where Pout was positioned more aggressively. It ends up with a big punish from Guri. This fight still goes the way of MVK, but it shows sort of the writing on the wall, where Pout's able to play up, where Doggo's able to play up. Doesn't work out in this fight, but it did work out in further fights when they were just a little bit stronger, when it doesn't take 4 or 5 overloads from the Ryze to Hillier, it takes 2 or 3. In this fight, you see he landed 2 overloads. And Haki is not part of this fight anymore.
Yeah, that is a lot of damage. You have to be so careful walking into any rises, especially Pout, who I have actually been saying is definitely one of the most improved players in the LCP this split alone. I think they really stepped up. They've always been good, but I think now they're playing so much more calculated in what they're trying to do with the team. I think that's a really nice step up too. So big props there to Pout, who is starting to shine how we expect them to shine.
Yeah, exactly. And they've chosen the perfect time to have their glow up as a literal glow up in that fight. In my opinion, I think that's the play that wins them the game. The fact that they are able to just cause so much extra damage because of that Zhonya's means that Shadow carries the back up. We don't actually see the back up of him, but Shadow ends up getting 2 extra kills. They stop a dragon attempt. And it's where everything turns around. Even in this fight, Doggo just kites everything back, and look at the damage that he layers over the top. The 2 big carries for CFO, Doggo and Pout, have hit an unbelievable level of play.
That's exactly it. That's why we've both given CFO the 3-1. We saw the signs of life. We think Vikings have that opportunity to make this series competitive. But CFO, they will just hold on and they will take you in a late game. They have those hands. They've got that skills. We'll just have to see if Vikings can come back with some fresh resets on the mental and go back into this one with a bit more of a calculated game plan.
We'll have to see if the Vikings can get the raid back on track or if it's oysters for dinner. We'll be back in just a little bit here with more LCP.
The international narrative of League of Legends is that Western regions couldn't compete unless they brought something special.
Denmark meets Caps!
Caps is inarguably the greatest Western player of all time. Any record you can think of for Europe, Caps has it.
엄청난 선수라고 생각합니다.
He was dodging literally every spell.
여기로 던지면 저쪽으로 가요. 어우, 화가 나는 거예요, 그냥.
Even back then, Caps saw the game in a different way.
I could tell Perks was feeling fear for the first time having to play Caps.
Oh, he just solo killed Perks!
Very bad memories.
We have a new superstar. This is the European hope now.
You're a player and you look across the stage and they're just laughing. And you're sweating for your life.
There are players at home right now. They're seeing those European players and they're believing that they can do it too.
We can do this. We can go even further.
Caps 就像是旗帜。
For players like Faker, Uzi, and Caps, you never really take into account years of finding ways to reinvent yourself to get back to the top.
Where were you when the West rose up?
Baron Nashor may be the strongest monster on Summoner's Rift, but he's got nothing on the true boss of League Classic, Runes and Masteries. Runes and Masteries can feel like a lot, but don't worry, we're here to help you get started.
All in good time.
Let's start with Masteries. Masteries have 3 different trees: offense, defense, and utility. You have to spend a certain number of points in a tree to move down to the next tier. The farther down you go, the stronger the bonuses. You'll start with a 10-10-10 Masteries page that aims to do a little bit of everything. But once you unlock the ability to make your own pages, it's best to invest more deeply on a single tree to get the most bonuses. You should probably aim for 21 points in your primary tree and 9 points in your secondary. Now for runes. There are 4 types of runes: red marks, yellow seals, blue glyphs, and golden quintessences. These runes all boost a variety of stats, but if you want to be efficient, you'll want to pick the right type of rune for the right stat. Marks are best at dealing physical damage and magic pen. Seals boost your armor, health, and mana regen, and glyphs are best for ability power, cooldown reduction, and magic resist. Quints are particularly powerful. You only get 3 of them, and the effects they provide can be game-changing. Beyond boosts to typical stats, Quints are also the only way to improve stats like experience gain, and even the amount of time it takes to respawn after you die. But you don't need that last one, right? You got this. This is a lot to take in at once, but don't worry. You'll have some time to figure out what's best for your playstyle. Much like Masteries, you'll start with a basic rune page that you can improve over time. You'll unlock rune slots as you play, and can purchase runes from the shop using IP. You can get exactly what you need to rule the Rift.
But here we go, Dustin.
Itai, the 1v1, Itai comes out on top.
If they have to, here comes the hero's entrance. They have the
Back, it's CFO drawing first blood, but MVK looked pretty good. Pike, how are we feeling?
I love that. It's always like a consolation prize. They got first blood, but they looked pretty good. No, I'm feeling pretty good. Honestly, I think Vikings got a lot of work to do. I think their drafting has been good. I think they knew exactly what they were trying to do in that game. I think they just got pipped at the post, honestly. Like, you can tell by the gold graph that they just... something went awry. I think they missed one timing, and it was around that one play, and then CFO just knew exactly how to capitalize on it. That was basically it. It's not to say that CFO's been playing better. It's not to say that Vikings have been playing worse. I think both teams are playing really well. I think CFO just read the map a little bit better. That is all I'd be putting it down to.
Yeah, I think I do agree. I think the draft as well helped CFO. I think a lot of teams would have panicked after how the early game was going, how strong Chica was, but they really just relied and they said, no, it's okay. We have a Yunara, we have a Rise, we're fine. This game will go our way in the end. Even after losing the Dragon Soul, they just looked unshaken.
I think that's a big thing, right? Like, Mountain isn't the biggest impactful Dragon Soul in the game. Like, yes, it's just big shield. Like, you get a little bit of those buffs, but at the end of the day, your team's not super tanky. They had hard carries on there that weren't gonna just be able to survive in these fights. It was just really an Alistair. On the other side of that, though, like, if you get a Cassante with it, I think that's a slightly different story. Very similar sort of motif, but you also have a Lulu who's gonna be giving huge shields to everyone, and they're just gonna get empowered even further again. So I think it just was an unfortunate Dragon Soul to get.
Yeah, it was a little bit. Mountain Soul did feel a little bit useless. Not gonna lie, but CFO, I think this time I want to see them play a little bit more of an early game. I think this series is a really good test for them, not just in can you beat MVK, which is not super easy, but also how many different axes can you play on when you go back up against Team Secret Wells. And I'll give you a spoiler, obviously Team Secret Wells still has to beat Garm, but I'll spoil it, I am predicting them to do it.
Look, it's not a spoiler until it happens, right? Like, we are not soothsayers. We cannot see the future. We are doing this all purely... Well, I'm doing it all purely off maths. For anyone who knows anything about me, my maths is horrendous. So maybe I'm just winging it really hard, but we're getting ready for draft here, Carrick. It's game number 2. Let's jump on in. A couple good bans already across the board. Nocturne's still such a high priority ban pick here, when it really hasn't had the showing we've wanted to see from it in the games that it's been let through.
Yeah, I actually do agree. I do almost think the Nocturne is overbanned a little bit. I understand why the focus is put there. It's because in theory, you can't play side lane if a Nocturne is in the game because you'll just constantly get 2v1'd. And that can really warp practice and drafts. But at the same time, I just haven't been super impressed by him when it has been picked by LCP junglers. I think he hasn't looked incredibly strong. But regardless, is banned out. The Cassiopeia and the Ezreal. Now, those are two champions I have been impressed by. So let's keep them on that ban list.
Same with the Nautilus. It's another one you have to take off. If you let it through, the Subterranean Nautilus will dig their way into your heart and soul and mind, Carrick, because we've seen some nasty hooks here in the LCP. There's the J4 ban, obviously didn't come through in the last series and wasn't banned out either. So I like this sort of change up from the Vikings. They're obviously identifying some weaknesses that they might be struggling against. And now that Neferi's gone, J4 is just another strong champion they need to take off the bat. And Pyke, still a high priority here and taken away for so long. Olaf first.
Olaf first pick.
What?
Bold.
That's very bold. Like, you still got a Nara available if you want to take that. You could technically go for a Vayne if you feel like getting real spicy with it. Like, there's a lot of options here to deal with this Olaf, and it's now also leaving out like the Camille open. So yes, you're still punished for the early roams, but you could also put that top if you really feel like it. But Karma's going to be their solution.
I like Karma a lot. This opens up a few different avenues for Kino. Oh, okay, fair enough. They switched to a Kled. All right, I like that too.
I like the Kled here because now it can take it to the Olaf. It's a very good champion into it, especially early on before they get the Ragnarok. You hit them with that Bear Claw trap and you are laughing. Can you do a Kled laugh?
God, no. Can you do a Kled laugh?
No, I was just trying to see if you could do it. I'm just.
Oh no, I don't play Kled. I'm not good at the game. I play easy champions.
I used to play Kled, and I do love Kled, but I like the Kalista that was being hovered there as well. Caitlyn's also really strong here with the Karma too. Jhin, I like, but I don't think it's going to be as good because the Ashe Seraphine is now locked in, so I actually didn't even see that for a second. Now the Caitlyn MP, that means the range is going to be very, very comfortable. You just have to be so careful with an Encore, with an Enchanted Crystal Arrow.
Yeah, you do, but look at the counter pick here from CFO, just slamming the Caitlyn. This is an abusive lane.
It's going to be a lot to deal with. I think if you're not careful, so you can catch them out very quickly. I think it comes down to if you're going to land these arrows in the right moment. I think if you can get maybe like a cross map where you get someone caught in a mid lane, it's going to be really, really good to capitalize on that too. Or if there's a jungle skirmish, I think that's where it's going to be very impactful because you just know Doggo is going to take cleanse, so you're going to be able to stop one of those abilities from going through. So I don't mind it. I think the Ashe Seraphine is just so oppressive. You're just going to have to concede a little bit for Doggo and Kino here and maybe let Kino roam around a bit.
Yeah, I like it. I think anything that lets Kano off the leash is always good. But at the same time, I'm just, I just think, I mean, I said before, once I sort of remember how to talk for a second, I wanted to see CFO play a very different draft. I wanted to see them play, they played the late game draft. Now let's play an early game draft. And they've done that for me. But let's actually execute it this time.
I'm not going to throw too many spanners in the works, but I'd love to just see like a Kled mid. I'll be honest, I have played it. It's so much fun into mages. I just can't do anything. You just run at them. It's like the only one that can really stop you is like Syndra. But that's it. Like, you just can run at people. It's a lot of fun. Go give it a go, guys, out there in the LCP chat. Try Kled mid. I promise you, it's going to be a long, fun game of you just charging everywhere. But we're through the draft. We've got Vi and Pantheon now banned out at the final pick of the post, as junglers are still yet to be picked here, Carrots.
Yeah, junglers are being hidden. Shadow getting 2 of his best champions taken away. The Vi gone as well. I'd love to see Akali for Pound. He's had an incredibly good Akali, so I like that a huge amount. And we're hiding jungle for last pick.
I don't mind this, honestly. Like, I like the Lock could be very good. I don't know if we have seen the Lock versus the Akali matchup, but that's an Aatrox, which could be a Guri special if they decide to take that into the jungle as well. So I don't bind it, it tells me a tale of very scrappy fights, waiting for an encore, arrow, not an aloe. But now the Galio being hovered means that if they land an arrow or an encore, we're going to fight.
Yeah, true. We are playing an incredibly brawly comp. We just want to fight. I think it's very risky to go this way. There's the Nasus you talked about. I actually think this might be the perfect game for it. You have time to scale. You don't necessarily need to be super present early, as all of your lanes should be naturally winning. Shyvana, kind of the same through line. You're just able to play the early game very safe and just farm. I actually kind of love either of these picks.
I also love the Trundle here too, and it is going to be locked up. It's just going to give so much agency as well to your team. You're going to be able to stop any sort of major onslaughts if they're trying to come in. Here is entrance to disrupt. You can throw that up in the right spot so it's going to block their way and give you a bit of a better path. I really like the Trundle thing, and you just shred through tanks, and you're up against an Aatrox who, yes, is going to build damage, but is a bruiser. They are still quite tanky.
Yeah, exactly. I do. Yeah, it makes sense. You can rip away resistances, so particularly if you do it on Olaf, you take his resistances while he's in Ragnarok, he's taking true damage.
Yeah, so true. But the Kled is still that unknown entity where we've only seen it maybe a very small handful of times. So I'm curious to see how it's going to play into the Olaf in particular, if they're going to be super aggressive early or if they're going to be waiting for those sort of like those big ultimates in the late game where they get the charge off. We're just going to have to wait and see as our coaches are stepping off the arena floor and they're moving back outside. That's the girl that won the card. They got it signed.
Yeah.
Hey, give me that card. Sorry.
I mean, unironically, LCP, if you hear me, I'll give you my address. I want the cards. Send them to me, please. Give me a Kiaya, a full art Kiaya. Yeah. I'll get it graded.
Yeah, LCP, I'm gonna. I'll email you. I'm not gonna say mine on broadcast.
I won't be doing that.
But we're in a game now, Carrix. Game number 2. CFO are on the blue side. They have got that first game win up on the board. And Shadow already just trying to take Guri a little bit. Yeah, now, okay, Pout's trying to take Chica. Maybe we'll see some fighting on bot side.
Maybe. No, I think they're going to be the boring lane. Boo. Boo, bot lane.
No, probably shouldn't boo lanes. But you got some good skins here. Frame Galio is arguably the coolest skin in the game. The High Noon Ash is all right. T1 Seraphine, all right, that kind of slaps.
It is pretty cool. Is coming to Riftbound pretty soon as well.
Yeah, don't forget, guys, if you haven't put in your tickets, okay, a lot of damage. Doggo had to flash there as well. It's also a heal burnt for Kino too. So very interesting is heals and barrier on the other side, but a flash down at this time, 1.5 minutes, is not where you want to be. And Pout kind of taking a beating from Chica.
Yeah, I mean, good trade there as well, as Rest has been knocked off his mount. I don't think he'll mind too much to be able to fairly easily build that courage back up.
Yeah, no, it's not the end of the world. Skarl is going to go wandering into the bushes. It's not too bad of a place to be for a lizard. But we'll have to see when it's going to come back, because if you are into that Olaf, you have to be very careful. You can die pretty quickly. You are a little bit in kill threat. Now we're seeing SOFM coming in with the first coach comms again, 2 minutes into the game. Maybe they didn't have enough time in draft.
I would love to know what's being said, because he has literally done this probably more, but at least the last 5 games they've played. He'll just burn all 3 of them within the next 5 minutes. Yes. I would love to know what's being said that can't be said during draft. It's so consistent, but it's also coincided with MVK looking really good, so something's working.
Imagine if he's just like, oh, boys, don't even worry. He's got the wrong skin on. He doesn't even know what he's doing. He's just like, he's just giving them a whole lot of smack talk and trying to like G them up. Being like, nah, don't worry, boys. Like, prestige skins? Nah, nothing. He's trying to be carrier. He's not carrier. He's just Sulong. He's a punk. Maybe that's just what I want them to say.
Maybe. Always funny when they used to do, like, they used to release full VODs with just the team comms. I was like, you can't do that. You can't do that. They're going to say things during the game that are not nice to their opponents. You can't release that.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, look, that's okay. You have to go through those battles, you know. You have to give it a go. And Kino as well walking up, going to be spotted out on some vision. Doesn't have the sweeper just yet, so not going to be able to clear that ward that was nicely placed by Guri. But well shoved in lane here by Doggo. Very interesting as they're slightly behind. This is the power of like that Ashe Seraphine. Yes, they're sort of down in health and mana, but they're holding their own quite successfully too. And Doggo with no flash has to respect that.
Yeah, it does need to be safe. They have Shadow lurking in the wing zone just to make sure that this crashes safely. As they will just get MVK backing. I think MVK kind of know that Shadow's probably here, given how aggressive CFO were playing.
And you can tell that they're trying to just walk up and hit this wave as much as possible because they are going to look for this dive. Shadow is going to be coming in. The wave is crashing. Flash out of Haki. He's trying to keep them at bay, but it's going to be first blood. Doggo still died. They tanked for far too long. And it's a 1-for-1 trade.
Yeah, it is 1-for-1. The kill goes to Haki as well. Both ADCs fall. That's actually pretty positive for MVK.
Yeah, totally agree. And I think Shadow getting a lead is nice. And another kill, Guri coming in, just a sneaky lane gank with Chica being a tasty snack of a Galio in the mid lane with that low enough health. But kills across the board now. Carrix, it's a slight lead for MVK, but it's a lead.
It absolutely is a lead. They've picked up a kill in mid. They've picked up that kill in bot. They have to be pretty happy with this. Like getting a kill, even though, yes, it's a 1-for-1, but you got it into the Caitlyn lane. This starts out, I thought it was a disaster. Sulong burnt a W just to try, but it used the rest of his mana. But it actually bought exactly enough time. And then there's just the confidence here from Chica to step back up. Guri's clearly called, I'm coming, you need to get this fight happening. And it works perfectly.
Yeah, and the Shroud wasn't enough to keep them at bay, but now we're starting to see a couple small components being picked up here. And Guri now looking and saying, okay, you're going to gank my boys, I'm going to gank you right back. Is looking at Kino, going to be hit with those chains, but it is not going to land. A little bit of a cheeky spot. The Karma could be caught here. See who's going to be tanking up the tower first. It's going to be Sulong getting charged up. Hero's entrance going to be coming in, but they actually still lose the Seraphine.
Why has Sulong died?
Now, okay, a bit of an interesting fight. Pout now looking to continue it further. There's going to be the Shroud, and okay, Shadow wasn't there in time, but still a 1-for-1. I don't know, Carrix. That didn't seem like a good dive to me.
Yeah, I mean, these dives have not been working out super well. I mean, this time, of course, it was the supports that went down, not the ADCs, so kind of balances out. Let's have a look at the replay here. I mean, Aatrox just isn't great in this scenario, right? He can't really get anything going. They don't balance the tower aggro. So look, had flash, probably could have broken tower rage before the last shot fired, but just didn't quite work out in the end.
It's not the end of the world. It is going to be that Seraphine, you are the support, so happy to give you a life. And giving the kill over to Kino, it's going to make Karma a lot harder to deal with as well. Yes, it's a Seraphine. Encores are always going to be impactful, but Karma's shields do just get outrageous as the game goes on.
Yeah, they really, really do. These enchanters can definitely really pop off. But what I'm worried about is the fact that there's a Caitlyn lane that doesn't have a lead. That's just not what this lane is meant to do. Doggo can come back later in the game, don't get me wrong, but he's not meant to have to come back.
It's true, but I think this is also the other lane that we've seen counteract this Caitlyn sort of gameplay where you have the double range bot lane that does do a lot, and the Hawk shot catching out Shadow, clearing on the red. So here's SOFM once again coming in with Coach Com's number 2. I'm going to make a prediction. Coach Com's number 3 is going to be at 10 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, these are slower than I would have expected, but 10 minutes probably sounds about right, as there's the arrow. Doggo just flashes.
Yeah, great flash there to avoid it, but again, 5 minutes for a Crystal Arrow that's going to be up in about 2 minutes is less than ideal, and an ace in the hole just to sort of chunk them out a little bit further. A lot of healing coming forward, and here's Shadow trying to find Guri in his jungle. Level 6 to level 7. We'll have to see if they want to continue this fight. A little bit of proactivity. Here comes the Seraphine. Sulong wants to come up. Okay, I was wrong. So wait, okay, was that still the second coach comms or was that a third?
I think that was just still the second.
Okay, just
I think
confirming.
you'd still have a bit more time if it was the third.
Yeah, I was going to say it's can't let that go down. I made a bold prediction. I'm using math, guys. I'm using math. But Void Grubs are up, and so is the Dragon Carracks.
Yeah, it is. Everything is up. No objectives taken yet. It has just been this hard-fought 1,000 gold lead eked out for MVK. Ults are all online as Guri looks like he'll make that first move up to the Grubs, and I don't know if there's going to be much ability to contest it. Shadow might be able to split these Grubs and just take away one.
Yeah, with Chica and Sulong here, you got to be very careful as the Encore is available too. 2 Grubs secured. I think they're just going to be happy to give this one over now and just say, oh, not even. They're just going to smite it, and it's going to be a 1 for 2 going over to the Vikings. So not going to be able to secure all 3. Not too bad considering.
Yeah, not too bad. Still slightly MVK favoured, but the emphasis on the slightly. Split Grubs are not really anything to write home about. I guess we will just be refocusing on Dragon as Rest runs.
You don't write home about
friends.
that? I always call my mum, Mum, I split the grub today. It was a great achievement. I feel like I'm making ways in life. Sincerely,
Just makes me think about dearest Carthus. Please press your R button for I fear Lee Sin is going to gank us. As an arrow comes out.
Yeah, not too much to follow. A little bit too deep underneath that tower. Makes a bit of sense. So, Haki, again, with no flash. You've got to wait another 2 minutes here, Haki, to be able to pull that play off once again. But 1-1-1 is the scoreline for Haki on this Ashe, so not too bad, considering, like you said, Doggo is in a little bit of struggle street, still not able to get this lead that they were hoping for.
Yeah, and MVK, they have prior on the bot lane. Doggo having to burn that flash. They can just go to the Dragon. They have really good vision as Encore lands.
Ooh. Yeah, nice little pickup there, looking towards the backside, and Doggo's got no flash. He's just gone. Guri is going to be picked up. Now Haki's just charging out. Kino drops the ward, and now they're going to be tanking up the tower, but the shields are too good. The Inspire is even better, and with the World Ender secured, they're picking up the first Dragon of the game.
Yeah, MVK again playing fantastic in this early game, linking up together. Really well done, and also something we haven't talked about, because there's been so much to talk about on the rest of the world. Look at Rest summoner spells. There's something missing.
Rest. Oh, he's got no flash. What the?
He's got no flash. He has gone Ignite Barrier.
Oh, you don't need flashes, Kled, because you got a nice little charge forge. You have your jousting, but then you also have your extra shot if you get taken off the Scarlet. You can just use your gun. You don't need a flash. I respect it. I think it's a good call. Can we also talk about the other side of this? This Aatrox is 3-0.
Yeah, it's pretty big.
Pretty gross. Pretty gross. We've got a Sundered Sky versus a Triforce, though. Who would you favour as this game sort of heads in towards this mid-game?
I mean, in terms of where we're currently... Oh, hang on.
Doggo's trying to tank it up, but took a lot of damage, and that was actually a beautiful play. Okay, 11 and a half minutes. It was 11 minutes. I was just off by a minute. We saw the third coach
he couldn't chime in a bit earlier. There was too much fighting going on. You don't want to come in mid-fight.
No. Oh, well, okay, look, I can't have everything, I guess. That's fine. I'll concede. But no, Carracks, we're seeing the next Dragon up in 3.5 minutes too. We'll have to see, is it going to be a Chemtech? So we're not going to see the hyper-aggressive Infernal. We're not going to be seeing the safety of the Chemtech Soul. What do you think it's going to be? I predict that it's going to be an Ocean.
Ooh, if we're guessing?
Yeah.
I'm going to say Hextech. I want some gates.
Okay. Make some movement across the map. I like it. I just like extra healing. I just want to see Guri pick up like 3 Ocean Drags and just heal forever. As we're seeing a bit of a fight, Guri trying to take away this red. Actually, he's going to smash us away. Pretty devastating. You are 20 CS up with a 1k gold lead, so even with a Triforce, there's not much you can really do into that.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you just have to stay away from this Aatrox. The ult is not as effective against him as well. It's not like Aatrox is a super resistance-heavy character. It's more about that healing. So just get Prio on the river, CFO. Doing their best to muscle in, but...
taking a lot of damage. The Encore hits the Crystal Arrow, steams through the middle of everyone. Hero's entrance is good. Shadow has to flash over the wall. They're fighting over a goddamn Scuttle Crab. Now the charge is going to be used defensively for Rest to get out of dodge, but Guri's not done yet. He took no damage. Now he wants a little bit more as the pillar does go up, blocking his way, and they CFO, they get out alive, but it cost them a little bit.
Yeah, it does. Just really not layering the CC super well there. Sulong landed a good ultimate, but, you know, Haki, you can't miss an arrow on someone that's already charmed. Like, that's a little bit unacceptable. And it does cost them that kill.
Look, it's not the end of the world, though. Like, it's still a good play. It's about getting proactivity and vision across the board. You can see some nice deep wards there out of MVK in this bot side jungle. So it's definitely telling that this team is trying to track as much as possible. Where is this jungler going? Where is Shadow on this map? Because if we can keep him down, he can't do as much because, remember, the Rift Herald's about to come up in 30 seconds, and this is one of those things Trundle either takes really well and utilizes effectively or can stop it. So maybe they can just give and try and get some priority across the map.
Yeah, I mean, like, I'm just trying to, like, sort of stop for a second and really think about the role of Rest in this game. You've gone Barrier Ignite, so you're just trying to match the Olaf at all possible times. You're trying to sit in the side lane, force Kratos to come to you, and Kratos really doesn't want to be near you because he doesn't win fights into the Ignite. But how do we deal with the fact that Guri is worth 2 members of the other team? And so, oh, hang on.
Yeah, there is the Ragnarok and a flash as well from Kratos, who has to be so defensive. And now Rest is still charging forward. They know they can just take this tower if they feel it. And again, a nice first tower secured here for Rest. There is the Rift Herald being started up by Guri and Chica. And nice little rotations are slowly moving up as Haki and Sulong probably heading towards there. But I think they're going to have to send some reinforcements down to this bot side. They are stacking members. And remember, Shadow has this Triforce. This Trundle could just shred through these towers.
Oh, yeah. This tower's dead. No, they will back off. Okay, they don't choose to overcommit for it.
Look, all of the plates, though, like, that is a good trade. Yeah, you lose the Rift Herald and Dragons up, but the CFO might need to reset, so giving over second Dragon here is not the greatest, but stacking Soul Dragons could be really good.
All right, which one of us is going to win? What did you predict? You said Cloud?
Ocean. Mountain again.
Oh, Ocean? Well, we're both wrong. It's Mountain.
Yeah, literally the only other options. We were both wrong.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Neither of us. We've both got to stay away from the casino. Probably good advice regardless. Guri spotted.
There's good advice. Yeah, Kino, using that blast code over the wall, not too much. As we're starting to see towards the secondary items. As looks like Haki probably going for what could be either a Hurricane, maybe into a Phantom, depending if you want to start shredding these guys. But that's the Rift Herald being charged at in the mid lane. I'll just see if it's going to... Oh, the pillar's too good.
Yeah, really well done there by Shadow. Does just outfox them. Save a huge amount of damage on that tower. It's one of those things, like, there's just a few champions floating around that can sort of just make Herald feel pretty bad. Bard's like obviously the other one. Just stops the charge.
Well, bummer. That's okay. Look, we move on. We just got to keep pressing forward here. As it's not too bad. It's probably why we saw CFO not really prioritizing this objective all too hard. They knew they could just cancel it out. So it's just a little bit of gold at the end of the day. And it's not even enough gold because it didn't even get any town plates.
Yeah, exactly. Don't really get much of anything. It's only 500 gold between these teams because it was MVK building a lead, but they've been reined in as... They did cash in some of their lead to just get those dragons, get the better side of the grub trade. So 500 gold, perhaps not fully representative of how well this early game's gone for MVK.
Yes, it is starting to swing, though, a little bit more as the gold is dead even. So what was about a 500 gold lead is now basically none. As we're still going to see a little bit of flick if they secure this tower plate. Might be pretty good, but Vikings still holding on as best they can. Let's look at the total gold right now, because Haki and Guri very comfortable at the top. Wow.
Yeah, they are having a very good time. We don't often see junglers all the way up there, but Guri certainly is. As Kratos...
Great underneath the tower. The Ragnarok is good, but he's going to be able to hold them along a bit too much. The Crystal Arrow hits, but it was Rest who was tanking, so they can't get any more, and they're going to pick up a tower off the back of that one, Carrix.
Yeah, and I don't know if Kratos exists in this game. Looking at that, he doesn't deal any damage into CFO's lineup as Guri finds Shadow.
Ooh. Yeah, Zakino as well, looking to find Sulong, but there's a lot of damage coming through. Shadow is very low. Hero's entrance is going to come down, going to get that smash onto Rest, trying to get them back off that Scarlet. The damage on the return fight is good. Power was slain, though. Arky's able to do a little bit more, holds the line just that little bit longer, but Doggo came in, picked up Guri and CFO. They took back the fight.
Yeah, I think CFO have to be really happy with that. They got the kill onto Guri, and look at what Rest's health bar was when he got the remount. I can't even see it. Like that Cled's not there. That's just Scarl.
Yeah, that's really low. That's like 1 HP. I want to see the replay. Like, we have to see this because you can see definitely getting caught out. Kino saw that. Shadow was in a really good spot, but Guri is a level up and very strong right now. Like, they are able to do so much here. Let's just keep an eye on Rest.
Yeah, I mean, he gets dismounted here, still gets taunted, but Guri cancelled an auto attack. It would have killed.
Yeah. The big thing, there was a shield as well that came in. The inspired shield from Karma actually kept him in the fight too. Very impressive. Like, that shield was incredibly clutch to keep him alive. But you're right, one cancelled auto could spell disaster here. But items are coming through. Okay, let me ask you a question, because I'm not a big Caitlyn player. Do you usually go Hurricane on a Caitlyn?
No.
Am I the only one that says maybe a rapid fire is the way to go?
Rapid fire, I think that's more often a third item, because it isn't, it's not exactly the highest damage. I'm a little bit confused by the Hurricane, for sure. Maybe this is a 25-16 thing that I'm not aware of.
I don't know. Maybe we'll have to ask Twitch chat.
Sort of the like standard build. The standard build in like solo queue is you go Hex Optics into IE, but a lot of pro players will go Collector because it's more aggressive in lane, which is what you pick Caitlyn for. So the Collector's fine, but not going IE second is a little weird. Yeah, not great. The hero's entrance is going to come in now too. I'll have to see if Viking's going to look to take this fight a little bit further. Doggo flashing over the wall. Kratos is going back in, but Power picked up Haki, so good damage. But it is just going to be CFO. They're running train. This is the power of this huge Shadow on this troll. Is able to get so much more done. God. Double kill for the clan. Kratos, you can't do too much here now, as Doggo is going to pick up that kill too. And this is CFO. They've come back with a vengeance yet again. 21.5 minutes into this game, and they're picking up their first mountain drag of this series. And it's just going to get harder and harder here, I think. Kratos can't do anything. I mean, this Kled is just Thanos in this game. He is completely unstoppable, and he slammed it very early in the draft. I mean, it was in response to a first pick Olaf. If we have a look at this, Kratos thinks he's found a really good angle onto Doggo. He follows him over the wall here and just doesn't even get him low. Doggo's fine. And meanwhile, the rest of the fight is just getting absolutely dictated by Pout and Rest. This couldn't have gone much worse here for MVK.
It's a tunnel vision situation here, Carrick. That's all I could see is you see an AD carry as an Olaf, and you know what? By nature, you just have to run at them. Downside is you don't really have much damage, and it's Doggo on a Caitlyn who can kite, is probably one of the best kind. Okay, Pout just solo boloing Chica. Absolutely phenomenal. That is an Akali up against a Galio, and you don't see that every day.
No, you don't. And this is really unfortunate. Guri got off to such a good start. I was pretty impressed with how MVK played the early game, but it has completely flipped around, mostly on the back of the fact that Rest is just completely removed Kratos from the game. As, I mean, this is just a bit of a masterclass in being really far ahead. Like, Pout does land every spell, which is good, but I don't think you're meant to do that much damage to a Galio.
No, but that's okay, because you got a Riftmaker on there too, you got a Gunblade too, so of course you're able to do that much damage. You could do whatever you want, as Crystal Arrow did go sideways too. Kino throwing up the scared kitty, because yeah, if that hit, I think they were dead.
Yeah, they do manage to dodge it away though, so... Ooh, Pout finds him again. This is bullying. Doesn't land.
Look, it kind of is. Looking for a little bit too much. Couldn't find a little bit extra. Perfect execution didn't find its mark. So sadly wasn't as perfect as we hoped, but doesn't matter because the gold lead is still very much in Pout's lead right now. And it is CFO with a 5k gold lead at the current point. 10 kills to 5. Let's look at some items across the board though, Carricks. I think we've got a slight waiting period as Baron's up, but Dragon's up in 2 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, if we have a look at items, it's now the Infinity Edge picked up for Doggo that has just been completed. So weirdness of Hurricane disregard. He's going to be doing huge damage here. He has got that ahead of Haki. Haki should have it before an objective fight, as he only needs the actual recipe cost, so he should be okay. But still, for the next little bit, Doggo is much more threatening, and frankly, Caitlyn is just more threatening than Ashe at this point. This is where Caitlyn sort of comes back online. She's an early game bully. She falls off for a little bit, and then she's just a really long range auto attacker, and that's all you really need in the late game. But the biggest thing is still just that Rest is basically a full item ahead of Kratos. They can't enter side lanes. Kratos just, I don't know what he does in this game. He runs at Doggo and hopefully blows his flash, I guess.
You got to stop giving me these hypothetical questions because, yeah, I don't really see a way in for Kratos here, even picking up potentially with the Tiamat, maybe looking for a Black Cleaver too, but all they've really got is a Hex Plate. There's not really much on that. You are just a bit of a meat shield and getting shredded. Now, Rest on the backside, looking to take on Guri, is 3 levels up. So even with that, you have to be very careful as the Baron is at 5k health. So this is sort of like that do or die. Like, do you commit to the fight as the charge goes in? Hero's entrance to knock up something, but doesn't catch anyone. We'll have to see a shadow into the back line. They're looking at Rest. They need to take out this Kled who's doing so much damage. Look at Pout in this backside. They're trying to get the damage off. The flashes go forward, but Pout picks up Haki. The damage is so good, and Rest, who was fighting the whole team, comes out on top. Picking up another as Pout gets the double kill. Now Chica all but caught underneath a tower, trying to take on the blue troll under the bridge, but it's Doggo who picks up the kill, and it is 4 members down for Vikings up against 5 of CFO. They've ballooned this gold lead to 8k now, and they're eyeing off the Baron like it's a snack.
I mean, this is just a stomp. Really? I don't think there's any other way to put it. They got onto Rest, but it just didn't matter. He got a remount at the perfect time. They just don't have the damage to kill him. They take the Baron. They'll get everything. I mean, let's have a look at this, because Rest is completely by himself here, but Guri went over the wall and just doesn't contribute to this fight until it's way too late. And look at Rest on the side. I want to stress this. He gets the remount on low health, comes back into the fight, and at that point, Pout has done enough damage. There's nothing they can do on the backside of it.
Yeah, And then it's just easy cleanup from there, and you can see back in live, maybe looking for a little bit of a sneaky fight onto Rest, but the cavalry is coming. They need to be very careful. If they don't spot him out on a sweeper, could be somewhat... He's still not been spotted out. This is the ultimate flank if it works for them. There's a lot of gold as Kratos does charge forward. Ragnarok has been popped. Flash from Doggo. Chica was there looking for a little bit more on the backside, but Rest is getting low. Kino is the target too. So low, but gets out of dodge. And they're trying to hold on as best they can, but Pout lives in this backline. He's living range-free in their minds, and they actually get out, and it is still CFO that come away relatively unscathed. Only one was picked up.
Yeah, do they try and get anything? They can't. The Baron push is there, so CFO have a pretty free reset. And it's a nearly 9,000 gold lead at 28 minutes. The Dragon is on the Rift. They'll pick that one up. I don't think Soul is really on the table. I don't think CFO want this game to go another 10 minutes. But they'll certainly deny it from MVK.
Look, and one thing I'd love to say is I did really like the drafting that's come out of CFO regardless. Even the Kled was just a nice pickup. It's now 4K ahead of Kratos regardless in this game. 3-0-7 is a fantastic scoreline for a champion that really doesn't have that huge esports pro level sort of representation, but this fight was so good here.
Yeah, 100% it was. The fact that Kino doesn't go down just denies any value, really. Pout plays it perfectly. As the taunt landed, he was already in the perfect execution, so he got away. I mean, I've been talking a lot about Rest, and I will continue to do so. But Pout is quietly having an absolutely phenomenal Akali game. I'm starting to think that this might just have to be a permaban against this team.
Yeah, potentially. It's so hard to deal with his Rest. Okay, love the aggression, forcing out the hero's entrance as the charge went through. Now they're looking for a little bit more. It's okay, great pick from Vikings. They caught one unawares. Now they're looking for Rest. Who's getting caught? Bear Trap is going to be good, but it's not going to be enough as the slows, the stuns. Is it going to be there? Rest does have a lot of shields out of Kino, and that movement speed is so good. So the Baron power play here for CFO only ending up being about 200 gold.
Yeah. I'm just, this has kind of happened twice now, where I think MVK have played to their win conditions in the early game. Maybe that's the coach comps? Because while SOFM is talking, I think MVK are looking really good.
Look, I was going to say my butt was that they're still 9k gold ahead. So it's like the Baron wasn't a
That's on your butt. You should get that checked out.
Look, if I had 9k gold on my butt, I would not be casting. No, I would be casting the LCP. Absolutely, I would be. I'd be doing it all the time. No, but okay. 9k is actually not that much. I probably couldn't live off that for very long. But still, that's like a PlayStation. That's all sorts of things that I could get. Maybe a new PC. I don't know. Every skin in the game.
That's like one RAM stick.
Yeah, love it. I'll take it. 5,800 maybe, 5,900 if my PC can hold. But you know what? Let's not worry about it. Let's get back into it because it's 2 dragons apiece still, 9k gold up. The tankiness is coming online for CFO because remember, it's a Kled with a big shield. Trundle's going to be very hard to kill. Same with Kino offering all of these Inspire to every member. The shields are going to be stacking so big. So Pout is going to be just more of a menace as they get into this backside. And now straight into the Shroud. Has to be careful.
Yeah, can just sit there threatening him. No one can Galio ult in to save Galio. So they need to be helping Chica out. Has been fairly ineffective this game. I haven't been super impressed with the Galio. It was picked very late in the draft as well. It is just that sole gold lead on Guri. He's going to turn it all around, Pike. He'll be the one to do it.
All right. I'm waiting. I'll be here.
Oh, maybe not.
Look, I was waiting. I was giving you a second. But no, okay, we're going to be careful though. 45 seconds on the Baron. This is going to be the big part, right? This is where both these teams will have to make or break the play. This is why the Hawk shot's gone out early to see if they can spot them out. But the vision's already very strong. And remember, we've got Rest down on this bot side pushing in. So you have to send someone to rotate. And if it's not going to be Kratos, it's probably going to be Chica. And that's still rough to deal with because no one can really deal with the Kled right now.
Yeah, no one can stop Kled. Rest is completely unstoppable. Bringing that Ignite means that Kratos can't step near him. Obviously, even without Ignite at this point in the game, he wouldn't be able to step to him anyway, but it's been the entire... Look at this! It's not even close. He can't even force a dismount.
No, and Kratos is just not long. The barrier was burnt. I would have just held on to it as long as I can because that is just one member down. We're going to probably see Rest charging through and opening up this base further. They have the TP available. They don't even have the flash in this game. They're that confident, but Doggo standing on the other side of the map. Crystal Arrow goes forth, does not land. They're trying to get Rest, see if they can do anything as the charge is still available. If you get caught on the other side, could result in something, but it is 4 members looking to go out. They've traded the Baron just for the top laner, and the kill went over to Chica.
Yeah, I mean, you killed Rest. I mean, maybe that's good for your mental going into game 3, but you've lost Baron. You've given map position up to CFO, and I mean, I really, I think that's probably the best you could do, to be fair, as much as I'm criticizing the play. You can't contest the Baron. You may as well just send things and just kill the Kled. It's your best chance. You're in a situation where you have like a 5% chance of winning this game, I should say. So if you can take a play that's like 20% chance of working, you're actually getting great odds.
Yeah, 100%. And the goal lead hasn't really deviated still, but the Baron now in play as it is Vikings making their first way over to this dragon. They might be able to secure this nice and quick, but Shadow's in the pit. It's already gone. Blast Cone use, and now they're looking to take this fight. Pout on the backside, looking it's too long, but Shadow looking at Haki. The kiting is exceptional. Hero's entrance is good. Ace in the hole going to go through, but it's only going to hit onto one. So they're trying to hold on as long as they can. Chica going back in. They're seeing if they're resetting, but look at Pout. It is going to be too much as Doggo goes on a rampage. What is going on? That Ragnarok was a definitely questionable one. There's Pat on the backside. The public execution, perfect execution is good. Is this too strong? Nothing you can do. Doggo's unstoppable. Guri is being chased out of his own jungle, and it's CFO. They're just looking so good yet again. There's nothing you can really do. Guri just waiting for the chopping block at this point. You can only
let him live.
So
he deserves to live. Guri had a good game.
He did have a good
game.
Guri had
a good game. Let him live.
Not the way you want to go out here, Carrick, as it is going to be game 2 picked up as CFO with 11.3k gold lead clean up and take game number 2, trying to make this a 3-0 series up against the Vikings.
And they have looked pretty much untouchable in these mid and late games, playing their scaling, playing their win conditions to perfection. And this time, playing their draft as, Rest is the man. That Kled was slammed as a pick into the Olaf. First pick Olaf looked useless.
I'm not sure why we're first picking top laners when I think for the last, maybe 4, maybe 5 years, we've been putting top laners as potential counter picks or 4th or 5th picks. Slamming it first is not the call. And the fact that we're seeing champions like the Kled coming out as like those counter picks that just make it so hard for them to do anything, I think we need to see some really smart drafting out of Vikings if they want to take this game 3, because right now they're not looking like the team that should be 3rd seed.
Yeah, no, they are looking completely outmatched. Both of these first 2 games, I think they've had good early games. I think they've known what to do for the first, say, 15 minutes. And I think this is something that's actually I've noticed long ago, back when the Vikings were a little bit different, when it was a different team, when they had BJ as their jungler, for any VCS heads in the chat. They have very scripted, very good first 15 minutes of games. Clearly, in that organization, there's a lot of emphasis on, like, let's script like script the first 15 minutes of a game so we can do it every single time. We get off to a good start. And unfortunately, today, when the improv has to take over, they're kind of bombing.
Yeah, and it's just really hard to see because we are seeing a good early game out of the Vikings. They are playing somewhat well, and it's just CFOs just playing better. Like, they are just keeping up in these games where you think that they're doing well. Pout has been looking exceptionally good. I think they are, like I actually said at the start of the night, they're a rising mid laner that has been putting in the work to really elevate their skills. We talked about CFO being a team that we want to see going back into the world stage to try and contest with this updated roster. So we're starting to see some really strong moves out of CFO regardless. I think this is the team we've been waiting for, the child that was promised, you might even say. But now the best part is we have a second child in Secret Wales that can actually get these games done too. So 2 children for the price of 1. Twins is always a rough thing to deal with, so we'll have to see how they're going to be moving forward. But still, at the end of the night here, Carricks, CFO, they've got one more game to close out if they want to close this series a bit better. But it's on Vikings really to put it to them here.
Yeah, look, Vikings just has to land the punch, you know? I think they're doing well, they're grappling, but you've got to get that knockout blow because you can't give CFO any space. They're too good. They are far, far too good. You give them a little bit of breathing room and they will just fight back and end you.
Yeah, and you can even see here, it was looking so close, but the shields were big. I think the Karma pick was real sleeper here too, and it just put a lot of saving grace into this fight. Yes, there was a couple of weird dives and people not getting things off properly, but at the end of the day, look at this solo bolo, and Rest was the only casualty in a 1v5 here technically. So regardless, a 1-for-1 and you still pick up everything, end the game, you'll take it as CFO.
Yeah. Totally will. We've probably got 1 or 2 more highlights to watch because CFO did sort of just put on a show as they just ran it over. Seriously, like just ran over them. This game, it's very hard to find any negatives for CFO. Pout was incredible on the Akali. I think this Team Secret Wales are learning from this. If they go up against CFO again, that Akali is not coming off the ban list.
No, 100%. I think Pout's been putting on such a big performance, not only on the Akali, but other champions like the Rise we saw in Game 1. It's like, it's so hard to deal with. How do you ban out Pout? How do you deal with Rest in this top lane now, who's got some unique picks as well? How do you take out Doggo, who was banned out so heavily in the first game? Like, there's a lot of questions that Viking needs to be putting some answers to, or they'll be going home tonight, and it's going to be a bit of a rough one as they would move down to the lower bracket in these playoffs.
Yeah, exactly. Not where you want to be. You want to have more chances to get towards World, to get towards the LCP Cup. But we'll be back in just a little bit to see who will be taking that next step, CFO or MVK. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
This is a Mumu. Mumu couldn't figure out what items to buy, so he left his base without them. This is widely regarded as a bad move.
Inevitably.
The Rift is a dangerous place when you're unprepared, so you'll need to stock up on the strongest items Runeterra has to offer. Here's what you should keep in mind when perusing the shopkeeper's wares. If you're heading to the jungle, you'll need to buy the Hunter's Machete and some health potions to survive your first clear. Most other champions do well with some Boots of Speed and health potions to get right into the action. Just remember that you only need 1 boot item for your build. I know you want to go fast, but you don't get extra movement speed after your first set. So pick the style of boot that works best for you and stick with it.
Okay.
When buying items, start with what your champion wants to do most. Dealing tons of attack damage, go for Trinity Force or Infinity Edge. Casting powerful magical abilities, Deathfire Grasp and Rod of Ages have you covered. Trying to become an unkillable tank? Sunfire Cape has the health you're looking for. And if you're a jungler, you should probably upgrade your Hunter's Machete into Spirit Stone or a Madrid's item. If you're a support, your budget's going to be pretty tight, so it's important to make the most of each purchase. Items like Heart of Gold and Philosopher's Stone give you extra gold generation, which can make up for all that farm you definitely aren't taking. You'll also want to get items like Sightstone that give you a pool of wards to use instead of having to buy each one individually. Once you've finished building your first item, start thinking about what the enemy team does well and what you need to counter it. For example, Banshee's Veil gives you a spell shield that fully blocks the next enemy ability, making it a perfect answer to champions like Annie who thrive on burst damage. Once you've finished your responsible shopping, feel free to check out some more creative purchases. Niche items like Banner of Command could catch your opponents off guard and shift the game in your favor. You never know until you try, so get out there, experiment, and find the perfect build for your champion and playstyle.
A clever fox is never caught.
不要求什么啦，希望可以有一波完整的团战就好。
对于对面的杯体感到很有意见，
没错，
他已经打过，
相当肮脏，
他先玩过，
不能找这种老手来。
对于他来说，你不太应该是那个老手吗？
没有，我是人老了。
那你呢？有认老吗？
我是老人。
打新版的我应该会赢他。
红手我打肉的时候，你还在妈妈咋扣呢？
某一个老人，不管什么版本，我都会打爆你。
Out over Hongshu in the mid lane has that ult level advantage.
There's the ignite going down. Hongshu's flashing away, but in comes.
Nice! Wow! 他不会玩，那个卡特正常是买9瓶药的。
我不是阻止他，打爆他。
And they liked it so much. Oh, okay. So BA just died in the replay.
Yep. Yep. He had a zillion bomb on him. He got tagged up.
喂，好痛啊！完啦，好痛啊！
I had actually forgotten this, but I noticed it during this play. Gragas E is not a stun in this version. It's a swat.
完啦，好恶心啊！他这个。
やっぱりアニメとか漫画だと古代兵器って大体すごく強いですから、今日は僕が皆さんに古代兵器をお見せします。
In trouble, look at the damage of the old Fiddlesticks ult. Emmy trying to get under tower, doesn't have access to Soraka ult. Few seconds off it, does manage to get a W down. He's gonna live, he's gonna clean them up. I think he gets both here as he'll just walk forward, ult himself. The drain isn't good enough. BA, there's nothing to do.
你點快？還嚟翻呢？哇！你cái này nè. Nice à. Ok nice.
Này mấy ông già chơi game, lần này tôi sẽ đá gãy của mấy ông.
Sniffs it out, will chase him down on the other side of the fight. Emmy gets him hailed. They need to get him quickly before he can get any more heals off. They manage it.
Nice. 五招怎么说？哎，你没大的急，你没大的。但好痛哦，那也太痛了吧！哦，哇！UCI。OK， go mid。怎么说？翻的人感觉。
Too long as he does see the damage is coming in, just moving forward, shredding through North. Eddie there as well, definitely trying to proc that W. Does well, but gets one shot by Maple on the other side. Hongshu can't find too much more. It's 2 for 2 at the moment.
我猜啦，我们会输。
稍微预测一下会输几个头
？5到10个吧，我算7个好了。
對。啱，得，我講跟住到，我好啲換親佢。哇！哦，我來。Nice！ GG！
看来当年真的是酒桶太 OP 了。中堂再1年，说到 OP， 我没有给到我给白，不给，很好。
老人队还是打这种旧玩还是太权威了。
まあここまで勝つというか、まあそもそもねメイプルさんがキャリーしてくれたんで、メイプルさんシェイシェイ。
你自己讲的，
又给你装到。
Welcome back, everybody. A dominant start for CFO, 2-0 up. MVK need to find their feet in this series or it'll be the lower bracket for them.
It's going to be a tall order, especially when you're looking for your feet. You probably lose a bit of height in that situation, Carrick. We'll have to see what Viking's going to be doing. It's a big wall to get through at the end of the day. CFO, they've been looking so much better as the split has been going on. Vikings, we've been seeing them doing well, but the way Vikings are looking, the way CFO are looking, sorry, they're just looking way too hard to deal with.
Yeah, this is them in fine form. You said it before the series that this is a CFO that's ready for international play. Now, to get there, they do have to make it to finals. So they have to win this series and then one more against either GARM or Team Secret Wales, depending on other results. If they get to finals, they are worlds bound. And in this form, I'm keen to have them represent this region.
Yeah, in this form, they're definitely a team that I would be supporting regardless. But at the end of the day, I'm going to be supporting all LCP teams when we get to Worlds. I've always been a big fan of those events, and I'm sure all of the LCP fans out there are looking forward to seeing these fantastic teams too. Doggo just winked at me. Stop it. Make me blush. But no, we'll have to see a team who's going to go, what do you predict might be the next major shake-up we saw? In that last game, the Kled was a big move, but so was the Akali. What do you think we might see in this game 3, Carrix?
I mean, this is where, like, does something like Ezreal get through? Does Doggo get like a really highly mechanical pick? Because so far Doggo's been having a good series, don't get me wrong. He had a good game on the Caitlyn, but Caitlyn is not a champion known for mechanical outplay. If he can get something, maybe Ezreal, maybe he even goes to something like Samira. I don't think he's pushed to that here, but he could pull it out basically for fun. That's who I want to see, because I think Rest has had a game where he's proven himself as incredibly high caliber. Not that we didn't already know that. Pout has done the same. Now I need one from Doggo.
You need a little bit from Doggo. Doggo's got that dog in him. He's ready to go hard. So we'll have to see what it's going to look like as bans are coming up through the boards. It is going to be the Cassiopeia. We've got the J4 and the Nautilus now off the board. So taking away these priority junglers, we still have a couple up on the Rift that we could lock in still too. Xin Zhao, Pantheon, Vi, Poppy, all still available. And of course, everyone's favorite, Lee Sin. I have to see is now Pyke. Banned out.
Yeah, they've been banning this Pyke every game. It makes me think that maybe Sulong's been really carving up with it in scrims, because he's had some good games on it on stage, don't get me wrong, but not so good that I'd be necessarily banning it every single game. I also think that if you can get the enemy team to pick Pyke, and you just got to survive for 15 minutes and then you get to play a 4v5.
Oh, unless that Pyke is fed, that's the difference. Like, as long as that champion gets a couple kills, shares that gold around, the wealth is always so impactful with a Pyke. So, as someone who dabbles in Pyke, being named Pyke, it's always good when you do get those strong leads and you can get those executes in the late game too. So, I always think it has some form of irrelevance, but I think you're right. Like, as it hits 15 minutes, it does become a lot harder to deal with. But Locke being the final ban here out for CFO, who's blue side yet again.
Yeah. I mean, I understand that. Don't give Cheek a lock. He's been fantastic on it, as Guri will get Vi. He's been very good on this champion. I think it makes a lot of sense. It's one of the better junglers still available, but it does leave Lucian for Doggo.
The big thing here now is you can go the Lucian somewhat early, but you can now pair it with the Braum. We have seen them play the Braum with the Lucian and how impactful it was. So instead of going the Milio, which we know is strong and probably going to be highly sought after here, the Braum's just as good. So if you want to leave that off, you have tank options. They hover the Ambessa, but instead they're going to go the Milio here. That's going to get the really strong, tried and true bot lane. And I really like this here for CFO. Doggo's going to be feeling incredibly comfortable.
Yeah, exactly. But answered immediately with the Lovers lane. The Xayah Rakan should give Haki and Sulong some real power in the bot lane, and particularly scaling into the mid game. Xayah could take over this game.
So true, but with the Poppy now coming and being hovered, could be interesting, and then it's going to be locked in.
Yeah, Poppy just gets locked in, can make the life very hard for Guri, can really deny Vi from fights, especially not just with that steadfast presence, the W, but also given how telegraphed Vi is of where she's going to end up when she ults. You can lock and load the Keeper's Verdict, just yeet her out of fights. I like this pick a lot.
But it's also really good into the Rakan as well. Like, the Rakan wants to go forward and knock you up with the Grand Entrance, so you're now stopping that. Now you're giving a little bit more space for the Cozy Campfire. You're going to be getting a little bit of that shielding coming in too, like a Poppy with extra shielding and a Lucian sitting comfortably at the back, dealing all of this damage. I'm worried. Vikings draft, yeah, you've got the safety of desire where you can just go up in the air, but right now there's no one threatening that. There's no full lockdown. This is just like a fun front-to-back fight from CFO, and this is them in their stride, and they're feeling good.
Yeah, they absolutely should be feeling good. They have been dominating tonight as Ari and Syndra removed, targeting these mid lane mages. Orianna notably still up, of course, on this patch. Orianna did take a pretty big hit, so has fallen fairly far in priority. We may finally be free from the tyranny of the ball.
Never. The ball will always be relevant.
True. It will always come back.
It's always there. Just like Lee Sin. It's always ready and available. Same with Azir. Same with Renekton. It's always possible. But we're still getting bans coming out too. All targeting towards that mid lane. But there's the Shen now taken off the board. So potentially looking at that towards the top side. A global ulti here would be really, really nice. So we'll have to see what they're going to put into the top side. Jace is still left up. CFO, if you give the Jace to rest, it's either going to be incredible or it's going to be lackluster.
Yeah, I mean, Jace would be great for rest. I think he's had very good performances on it, but I kind of do like a tank being picked up. I think you can just protect Doggo, and I thought we were free.
Told you.
No. Oh, hang on. Timer must be a little bit wrong, as it's actually going to be a Victor switch. Okay, a control mage picked up in the mid lane. I like this one for Pow.
Yeah, look, I love it. It scales really well. It wants to be in big team fights too. The Chaos Storms is going to be really, really nice. So I like this. It's going to slow a lot of people down. LeBlanc could be very interesting into it too. It's all about that pop in, pop out sort of gameplay. But again, Orianna is available. You could play the Orianna. Zoe could be a lot of fun, and it's going to be locked in. They got to throw something at them and shake up the momentum a little bit here. I like this for Vikings, but we'll have to see how it's going to be piloted by Chica.
Yeah, the pit comp is being built. You go in, you use the Vi, you use the long-range Sleepy Trouble Bubbles, potentially adding on a Varus, but this is blind.
Don't do it. Varus in the top lane. Carrix, like what, you could just pick like a Malphite, you could pick anything big, like you could just see something that's gonna be very comfortable, that doesn't have to worry too much, and Bessa would just have a lot of fun here too. Mundo could be a call if you want to send something up there that's a little bit wacky.
I think Mundo would be awesome, actually.
It'd be fantastic. Like, that's the whole thing, is like you get poked out. Nasus! Yes, I called it. I am a soothsayer, Carrix.
I think that's jungle.
It might be. I think sending it top is the way to go here. You're going to get poked out really heavily, but Nasus will come online 15 minutes regardless of what the game state is in. No matter how much farm they have, they will be online. If they have 1 or 2 items, they will start to just absolutely throw everything at you. So I like this pick, and I'm excited to see it here in the LCP.
All right, the dog is locked in. Look, he's not going to have fun early. Nasus doesn't have great counterplay into just kind of getting tickled by a Varus. Obviously, you do have that Wither, so you're probably forcing Cleanse being taken. I mean, I have to see more of this. It's not a champion I've seen. I know it has been emerging in a lot of different places. As you said, the win rate was crazy. It was crazy enough that it had to get nerfed. It got nerfed on this patch.
Yeah.
But I haven't seen it yet, at least in games that I've cast, so I'm keen for this one.
Oh, I haven't seen it in any games that I've cast recently. I've just been looking at the stats on like just all the websites about where this champion's situated, and its priority pick has jumped up. I think it was something like 200%, just for how powerful and easy it is to win with this champion. So I had a feeling we'd see it tonight, and we might be seeing it a little bit more through the LCP this week, but I'm here to see it on the map, because here we are, game number 3 here, Carrix. We are locked and loaded as CFO are inches away from one step closer from locking in Worlds. You said it before, they need to get to the finals, and if they win this, they only have one more series to get there.
Exactly. It won't be an easy series, of course. It will be our upper bracket finals against either Team Secret Wales or GARM. We'll have to see who makes it there later this week. As Doggo did pick the kind of champion I wanted him to pick, where he has a huge amount of mechanical initiative, where the champion does allow him to flex his skills, and he's done it early.
This is the Doggo special though, Carrick. Like, this is what they do. They'll cheese you in a bush, they'll get the early lane priority, force you off, and then you can't farm. Like, you will be level 1 still while they're probably getting close to level 2. Is Doggo here with the exhaust instantly. The barrier goes up just to get that safety going in. But now it's just Sulong trying to make something work, but Doggo is still incredibly healthy.
Yeah, and they're zoned completely off here. They're going to miss these early minions. I think they'll just about be in XP range. But as you said, they're almost level 2. They're 1 minion off there. It goes actually just ticks over. And Haki and Sulong are not even close. They're just going to have to try and farm this under tower. What are we doing, Chico?
Chico just wants to play with some chickens. That's all you got to do, really. It's not the end of the world, but obviously Shadow did have that vision down, so beelined it through too, as they're already pinging up towards this top. Look at this wave that is about to crash, that one fight. This is how Doggo and Kino love to get this early priority, because now you can just hit the wave for free, because if you don't last hit any of these minions, look at the CS difference.
Yeah, exactly. It's already 2 waves, as we've got to figure out how we can make sure the tower doesn't steal too many of these. Of course, ADCs at this level have been put into it plenty of times, but it is basically just a full wave up for Doggo now.
Yeah, now you can just go very, very comfortably forward. Relentless Pursuit will actually be relentless. And this is now Kratos dealing with Rest, who is still quite healthy, but look at the CS lead in this top side as well. It is 2 whole waves. The priority for Kratos, who's just hit level 4. It's going to be very slow going for this Nasus. I promise you. Rest is sleeping on it. He's going to wake up from a very good dream and have a lot of stacks.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, this is top laner's dream kind of thing, where you just get to hit minions. But Shadow, early play onto the bot side.
Nice little smash in. His first blood does go over. Shadow very happy with this early pickup, and nothing they could really do. And Doggo cleans up Sulong as well. It's a 2-0 swing. And CFO, they're showing no signs of slowing down.
That is a massive, massive blow. The wave state's going to be in a horrible position for MVK. They've both gone down. This was really well played by Shadow. We probably needed to see Haki flashing, but just didn't have time to do it. He got stunned against the tower. He flashes in the end, and it does nothing. Not a lot Sulong can do here. He does his best to get away, but he's just kind of already cooked. Just MVK caught a little bit sleeping, caught out by superior early laning from CFO.
Look, not the end of the world. It still is only 2 kills, but a 1k gold lead at the start of the game doesn't really bode all that well, considering this is the first game that Vikings aren't really being the proactive early aggressors in the game. It's going to be interesting and telling how it's going to be when it flips that story, and it is CFO in control of the map state. Can they snowball it further?
Yeah, exactly. This is actually sort of the first time in this series that CFO has actually gotten ahead very early. It actually has normally been MVK, at least in the first 10 or so minutes, actually being able to call shots. But this time that hasn't worked. Doggo is massive in the early games, already got a Sheen. He's just essentially a full Sheen ahead of Haki, which means that you cannot fight in that lane. You can't really even play down that side as Guri. You have to look for topside plays, and I don't know if those really exist, because Rest is just going to accept being pushed in.
Yeah, and you got to be very careful, as Chica took a big trade there, and now you can see Sulong has to be careful. Grand Entrance is going to be used to just get out of dodge, but now, again, they're forcing them so hard off this wave. How can they really react here? Because you see Shadow waiting. It's a 3v2, no other jungler in sight. So it's just so hard to deal with, and they're already 2 levels down. It's 5.5 minutes, Carricks.
Yeah, and they can't even get to their tower. If they go to their tower, they have to seriously expect that Shadow is still close enough to dive them. Of course, we know he's not, and they finally do push up there, but it's already 20 CS. It's 25, really. It's 1,000 gold for Doggo. I mean, I liked just picking the lovers lane to try and give you some mid-game strength, but you've just fallen too far behind already.
Mid-game is going to be coming a little bit later than I think they were anticipating, as we're seeing a return fight, the return gank from Shadow, who could just be looking for a very similar play as they look to go in. Doggo has not much mana. Shadow wants to take it a little bit further. It's a great knockback into the wall, and Shadow locks out Haki from the dead of night. This Shadow reined in, and a great play again from CFO. They're finding these answers.
Yeah, exactly. As Chica on the Zoe has been keeping up fine enough, is just a little bit behind to Pout. Obviously, Victor is pretty good at controlling waves early on. Bubble lands, no real follow-up available. It's just going to be a little poke. Doesn't even land the paddle star, but doesn't need to. As that is the one saving grace, perhaps, is that I think this Zoe is going to have a pretty good time. It's a fairly immobile team from CFO.
Yeah. Yeah, got to be careful though. You're going to have a big dog god just going to be walking at you. But Guri now on this dragon, trying to get this early priority on the objective, as Doggo is all alone down this bot side, happy to farm up a storm. But now you can see Shadow just sends him flying and says, "This dragon, thanks for the leash."
Yeah, exactly. Even more going CFO's way. MVK, it almost looks like their mental's a little bit broken. Game 1, I thought they had a real chance to get that win. Game 2, didn't really look super close. Game 3, it's looking even worse. Guri just can't even get that objective. I think they actually had pretty good tempo for it, but Shadow just, nah, I think I'll have that.
And big props. I think Shadow has actually been like a huge playmaker in all of these games too. They've really sort of stood out along with Pout. I think Pout's also had some really good games no matter what. Like that Akali game was exceptional. And I think even this Victor, they've got a nice lead. And I think Cheek is now just struggling to find their way in to do anything in this sort of lane, because it is a bit of a stalemate. You're both ranged, you're both just farming up, you both want your first items. As now Shadow again says, okay, Kratos, you're half health. Let's go. Like, it's time to dance. They're going to be able to get a little bit of a knock up, trying to see if they can do anything with it. Knocks him forward, and Rest is able to pick up the kill. Doesn't go down for his trouble. But picking up a kill there is very nice.
Yeah, that is not bad at all. Chica flashing forward. Is there the follow-up?
Oh, half health with a paddle star. That's gotta hurt.
Yeah, but I feel like Guri, could we have flashed and maybe got an ult in time? I think maybe it was a bit of a risk because he might have been dragged under tower. But it does mean that they get the grubs. MVK fighting back on this top side.
Yeah, big thing there, though, is CFO's already picked up one of those mites, so it's not all the grubs. You get grubs, but not all grubs. So, you know what? Not too bad. It's a nice consolation prize, but CFO already had the winning track and took one away, so I really like that. And Haki, struggling. Doggo landing every single shot there of the culling directly point blank, and now Stulong has to be careful as they're looking for a little bit more. Shadow is here. Got to be careful with Guri waiting in the wings, but might not be able to do too much. Is sending everything they can. Not going to be able to land much, but now again, look at the gold lead just in the bot lane alone. 1.4k for Doggo. They're about to finish an Essence Reaver.
Yeah, exactly. Doggo is just massive. Another plate went over to him as well. He may well just dash it. Well, he tried to dash over the wall. It's all right, Doggo. We won't talk about it. He's very, very strong, even with maybe some plays he doesn't want us to see.
Yeah, very aggressively going forward because Shadow is in the wings, and if they can shove this wave in, and now you're going to be worried. Rest slowly coming online. Definitely strange itemization, but I kind of respect it because if you get hit with the Chains of Corruption, you can just basically free cleanse out of it and you're just chilling. But now Rest is just holding on, able to clear these waves, and yes, took a lot of damage, but that's a TP coming in. Pout is jumping in for this one. There's the Chaos Storm. It's a free kill. Just Vikings, they're just being read like a book.
Yeah, exactly. They're just finding absolutely no response to what CFO's doing. They want to play around this Varus. They go, okay, that's maybe where we can fight. Kratos, he's 35 CS up on the Nasus, and that's, everyone knew that was going to be what happens. But if we have a look at the replay here, yeah, exactly. I think that QSS first, I think he's really, really smart. I think Kratos might just kill it. If he's gone a different item, if he can't get out of those chains, he'll just get plinked to death, taken down. And then the thing is as well, is it honestly, even if you kill Rest here, which they don't get particularly close to doing, this is still a fine trade for CFO. Even if Rest goes down, I think CFO are fine with it. Your Victor gets the kill. He gets those fragments towards upgrading his abilities. Rest, oh, hang on.
Great flash. Keeper's Verdict sends them out flying yet again, but they're looking for a potential dive as it is Doggo down on this bot side. Guri, Chica, they are up here. Shadow and Rest all alone. It's going to be a dark wasteland that they're going to be fighting up against 5 members of the Vikings. The knockups are good, cancelling out as much as they can, but a shutdown does go over. It is Shadow taken off the board, but Rest is still here. Now, Pout's looking for a little bit more of a fight. As Chica waiting for those cooldowns, trying to see if they can get more, is there, looking for a paddle star, lands the Sleepy Trouble bubble, but they are able to back out. First tower still went over to the side. Doggo's just sitting comfortably in these side lanes. Kino's now keeping them back, not letting them reset.
Yeah, exactly. Not what we want at all. Just lets Doggo push. Oh, Kino in trouble. Does go down. Breath of Life won't save him.
Okay, not bad. Nice little pick up there. Easy pickings for Haki.
Yeah, he's happy enough to get one back. Not bad there at all. The Xayah might be a little bit closer to catching up, but he's still just a full item behind Doggo, which is definitely not where you want to be.
Yes, it's not great, but not getting those early boots as well. So Doggo's just sitting on the base boots is totally fine here. When you are so accelerated, you already have the movement speed built in. The Relentless Pursuit is going to be so useful, so you're better off just going full damage and attack speed. As Dragon is up, second one of the game. It's a 3.5k gold lead right now for CFO, so well in control of the game at the 13-minute mark. And you know what? When did Doggo become a top laner?
Good question, but I mean, he's doing a pretty good job at it. I'm not saying he's not.
You know,
yeah, no, but you know, I mean, if ADCs aren't allowed to be bot lane, maybe they can be top lane. Yeah, he's doing good stuff.
He's about to take the tower.
Yeah,
what is going on? It's all right.
And it's Chica that's coming to respond.
Yeah, there's the TP. Oh, nice flash out. Chains of Corruption hits and a great shutdown. Kratos able to pick that one up, but it is Shadow down to this bot side. It was a bait and switch. A second dragon slowly being taken here by Shadow.
Yeah, I mean, this is actually a pretty good fight back here from MVK. I think they are identifying where they can try and get back into this game. They take down Doggo. They lose the dragon, but in this scenario, I think that's an okay result. A kill and some tower plates onto your strongest member in Kratos. I think as much as this is still a very bad game state for them, I think MVK are making the right moves.
Yeah. Items as well coming up off the board. So it looks like it's going to be a Dusk and Dawn now here for Kratos in this top side. So going that AP Varus. Yeah, I actually don't know what to make of that. I've definitely got some thoughts, but I'm not sure if it probably is the right way, even when you're 1.2k gold up. Tower is now gone, and another kill picked up here. Kratos, full AP Varus, it's getting it done, but now we have to see if they're going to be able to return fire across the map. Vikings trying to push in this mid, but the 2 members strong. They are successfully holding on, and a Rift Herald now being started up by Guri.
Yeah, and they Guri starts it up, but it's going to be Shadow that finishes it. Just has more of his team nearby, and his team is much stronger, so he can just muscle Guri off this one. There is a ward, so they can't get this reset. We'll actually have to stick around and help their jungler. Of course, you want to be nearby when the Herald dies. You do get a big, pulse of XP if you're within range. It's a fairly big range, so I think Doggo would have just gotten it, but
Yeah, not too worried at the end of the day. Is now the rest of the team starting to back up around this mid lane for Vikings. They have to deal with what is going to be coming soon, but now Doggo can sit in this mid lane. Both tier 1s are out, and look at that, the reset did come through, but it was just a little bit too early as Kratos got tower dosed so hard here. A free kill heading over to this Victor. The big question here is, how big can Doggo get?
That is a really good question. I said I wanted a game where Doggo flexed, where he showed that he is a superstar. So hopefully he heard me. He's putting on a show.
Now, the other question is, how big can Rest get? Because that NASA hasn't died yet.
It's interesting because Rest, I think, is going to have a fun time in the side lane, but I think this game might end before he becomes super relevant.
It's a high potential, but regardless, as we do see a little bit of a TP play coming in, just passing the baton as Rest is just comfortably pushing down this bot side. They're going to be clearing out this wave nice and quick so they can get this Rift Herald charge off, but 3 members in the mid lane. Kino, Doggo, only ones really responding, but now you can see it is Chica coming down to this bot, trying to deal with it. Guri taking a lot of damage. Keep its Verta keeps them locked in place. There's nowhere they can really go, and they're actually not really fighting over anything in particular. They got the tower. Vikings are going to make the trade up towards this top side.
They are. Kratos is going to get more gold, but I think CFO is recognizing that, yes, this is going to be a strong Varus, but it's not going to be as strong as Doggo is compared to his opposite number, and also, how scared of a big Varus are you in this team comp if it's just the Varus? Obviously, if it was Varus augmented with 2 or 3 other very strong members, that's a different question. But if it's just the Varus, I think it's fairly, you can deal with it.
Yeah, we've seen some pretty nasty AP Varuses before where they do just like blow up tanks. Like it is highly potential, especially with the Dusk and Dawn now where your abilities are empowered a little bit more, especially your autos. So I like this sort of mix-up that we're starting to see. At least it's not lethality Varus. Am I right, Twitch chat? But now cease and desist goes in, Flash goes forward. They're trying to send everything they can. Guri now on the wrong side of the wall, has nowhere to go, and it's Doggo picking up the kill. Rest being the tank, holding the team at bay as Doggo sits behind. There's the unrelenting pursuit. It is going to be good, but it's a double kill going over. Doggo is really strong, and Rest did not die. Looking for a little bit more as sending out Sleepy Trouble Bubble. Shadow, did not want to take that and backs off, rightly so. Got to be so careful. They did not have the wave, Carricks.
No, they did not. As this wave now will be cleaned up by Harky. It's another win for CFO. 30 seconds on another dragon. I think they'll just go collect that basically on spawn as all their resets are coming in at a perfect time. Let's have a look at how that one went down as it was Guri trying to make the play, but look how far ahead he is of everyone else. Well played by Shadow as well, just constantly standing between Guri and the wall so he couldn't queue over it. Rest, Rest is built in a way that he is not going to deal damage for a while, but he just stands in front of them, he just presses Wither, and that's all he has to do this game.
Yeah, now we've got another fight going on. Chica already half health, has to be backed out. Kratos getting stunned up, slowed up, taken very low, but again, Rest off to the side, doing a really good job. Chains Corruption do go out, Featherstorm used too, but Rest is still pursuit. Flashes over the wall, another smash is going to be good, but can they lock it down? And Harky picked up by Shadow. There's the Keeper's verdict too, and okay, Shadow says, you know what, it's fine, and Sulong is going to be picked up once again. Triple kill here for Shadow. There is no stopping this darkness. It's too easy for this CFO jungler.
Yeah, and it looks like MVK are withering away as Rest was just walking through them, just constantly slowing them down, letting the rest of his team, letting Shadow go crazy on the Poppy. They'll get the tower, they'll get the dragon. They are 6,000 gold ahead as we just pressed 20 minutes, Pike.
20 minutes. The Barons just spawned and we're at 11 kills for 3 with a 6k gold lead for CFO and Soul Point.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty solid. They even leave Rest. Throws up the emote as he goes, hell yeah, that's 10 stacks.
Oh, so many stacks. I want to know what he's sitting on for stacks right now because there's got to be something good. But here's the replay, Carricks. Walk me through it.
Well, it just starts out with, I think, MVK being in a position they can't be in. Like, you just have no agency here. As soon as your front line is broken, you just are on the run constantly, but Rest will just walk forward. His damage is fairly low at this point, even with the stacks, but Wither is a hell of a button pike. He's just constantly just putting this massive slow out. It lets the rest of the team just do whatever they want, and Shadow plays it perfectly to get that triple.
Yeah, and you're building Shadow so much. You got the Sundered Skies, the healing's great, and Shadow's happy to go into 4 members strong here. Has to be very careful as Rest off on the side. Did go large, is able to hit the Fury of the Sands, but now Kratos has to run. The culling's good. Can Kratos survive any longer? But no, can't do it as Shadow does pick them up, and they're on a rampage here. And again, Chica was nowhere in the fight. Rest is still charging forward when probably shouldn't be doing that. Nice little QSS, cancels out the Sleepy Trouble bubble. That's just too easy at this point. That is now one of your main damage dealers gone. The only player on the Vikings with a gold lead is out of this fight, so the Baron gets started.
Exactly, and it was 272 stacks at the moment for Rest, so he is definitely bringing some bonk. As MVK feel like they have to fight this.
Keeper's Verdict actually went sideways, so Shadow is trying to be very careful as the Sleepy Trouble bubble does land, sending Nasus to sleep. See if Fresh is able to hold on, but looking for a bit more damage, knock into the wall. Shadow goes unstoppable, sees assist on the back lines, not going to be enough as Guri still gets picked up. Doggo very happy to be on a killing spree. Now Chica is here, Chains of Corruption do go forward, and they pick it up. Kratos, that was an insane arrow that we just saw, truly piercing, but it looks like it is going to be CFO still picking up the Baron here.
Let him stack off it. Let him stack.
Oh,
Pout! How could you? A player has left the game. Summoner is disconnected.
This player is not muted. Chat.
I wouldn't blame him hitting that mute all, but let's have a look at how this played out, because I mean, this is just, unfortunately, CFO being far too far ahead. Pout is playing frontline that whole time, and there's no actual threat onto him. They can't go engage onto him. They're too far behind. This isn't what good little play by Kratos, or maybe it's an overzealous play by Shadow. Of course, it doesn't really end up mattering.
Yeah, so true. 7k gold lead, 14 kills to 4. Kratos does have a solid gold lead too, but it's just not enough to compete with every single other member on the team. And Pounce off in this side lane doing a really good job just clearing out towers. But we'll have to see what it's going to be doing, as Rest again is almost at that level 16. We are in the just teetering on a late game, and that's where Nasus really thrives. Is instant work there, as they're going to be able to stop out any of the Chains Corruption. Beautiful V Keeper's Verdict doesn't land too long, just gone off the face of this earth. The Chaos Storm is huge. It's a double kill for Doggo, the triple kill, absolute domination as CFO clean up the fight and are looking to clean up game 3. They wanted to absolutely take this to the Vikings, and they have done so in absolute fashion. They are walking down this mid lane, looking at the Nexus. Vikings, they looked game 1 so strong. Game 2, they looked strong, but they couldn't hold on. And game 3, a shambles of a team that could not last the series. And it's CFO closing out this one, walking their way into the upper bracket yet again. Our first seed wants Worlds.
They are hunting for it. They take the 3-0, and frankly, none of the games looked close. They smashed MVK.
This is the CFO we've been waiting for, Carrick. We've been talking about it. We've been building to it all year long, saying this roster, yes, reinvigorized, but also was trying to find their feet. Split 3. Feet found. The socks are on. The walking shoes are ready to run. And this team, dare I say, is looking rather unstoppable.
Yeah, I think they do look pretty unstoppable. They pick up a win against Team Secret Wales. That one was close. This one wasn't. And now they sit in that upper bracket saying, Team Secret Wales, you've got to beat Garm and then you've got to go through us.
Yeah. And that's a big, big ask here. The way Vikings were playing, yes, the aggression was good, but there was still so much gameplay they needed to work through. So maybe it was just Vikings on a slight off night, or just CFO just weathered the storm of the Vikings and said, it doesn't matter how far you sail, we will just be there ready to fight too, because at the end of the day, Vikings can't breathe underwater, Carrix, but oysters can.
That's true. They can breathe underwater, and they do like cool filtering stuff. As they have filtered MVK out of the upper bracket, as MVK do still have another chance. They are not out of the hunt yet. And of course, we have 3 slots for Worlds, so very much still in play.
Yes, so true, because you do have to go down to that lower bracket, like you said, up against Garm. So if you can win that and then potentially win again, but remember, there's points confirmed. One team, Team Secret Wales, already locked in for Worlds. But this game, we can look at it and break it down as much as possible, but it was just a shellacking from the first minute. It was Doggo and Kino, the start of the game, setting the tone for how they would run it. And it was a 10k plus damage difference in the 80 carry role. I don't think we've seen that in a very long time, so I like to see it here.
Yeah, 100%. And I liked that every member of CFO sort of had their pop-off moments and had their games to show where they had so much skill and so much impact. Shadow on Poppy was incredible, along with Doggo on the Lucian. Pout honestly had a couple of games. I think the hardest part here is going to be, player of the match. It is Pout, and I can't blame them for that one. He was brilliant.
Yeah, game 1, that Rise just did so much damage, tops of the charts. Then you had the Akali, which was just soloing so many people, but at the same time, the most relevant player in the team fights too. And then in that last game, of course, that Victor, the TP plays were exceptional, picking up some early kills, and then the damage was just so consistent going forward. But we can look at this first blood here for Shadow was just maybe a little bit too easy.
Yeah, I think it was. I think that level 1 to 3 sequence possibly could not have gone worse for MVK. They got bullied off their first wave. They got dove. It was basically over from minute 2.
Yeah, not exactly what you want, really. But look, you know what? We've got to give some credit where credit's due. Vikings throughout the whole series. This third game definitely was not the Vikings we know and love. I think at this point they were just maybe a little bit tilted. And you know what? Rightly so. CFO played so incredibly well that I would be tilted too. There was just no answer. Everything they kept putting forward, it was answered in kind and just answered better. So I think Vikings, they've got a little bit of work to do before they go face up against, potentially against Garm. You keep saying it's going to be Garm. Secret Wales, they lost in a best of 5 against this team right here. So, look, I'm not saying it's going to happen, but there's a potential. There is a universe and a timeline that it will.
Yeah, there certainly is. I don't think Team Secret Wales looked particularly good in that last series. I think it was it might have just been an off day, but maybe the form continues. Maybe it is Garm that will go up against CFO. But frankly, I know MVK and Garm were both saying, CFO, pick us, pick us. I think right now you're saying, whoa, CFO, we're good. Whoa, it's all good, man. Don't worry about it.
He's like, yeah, no, I don't want that heat. I don't want that smoke. This play here, that's the highlight. That's going in a highlight reel for next year for sure. That was gorgeous keeper's verdict going forward. So, you know what? Again, CFO, Carrick, CFO looking so good. And let's take a look at today's result. It was that 3-0 for CFO. And what can we expect going forward from them?
I think we can expect a lot. I think they are going to seriously challenge to take first place and therefore first seed off of Team Secret Wales. They've hit their form at the perfect time. I think Doggo is base. You know what? Doggo, the only thing that's making me not say that he's the best player in the region at the moment is because I think maybe it's Pout. But if we look at this, we've got Team Secret Wales against GARM, and CFO can just sit there and wait and watch.
Look, they can just watch the strategies, right, and see what Secret Wales want to do, but GARM is still a threat. These top 4 teams, top 3 at the minimum, are all threats to head towards these finals. Secret Wales, after their performance last week against CFO, they took too much time off. I think they were a little bit slow, a little bit sluggish. They need to get back in form and fast as we're heading towards the final matches of the LCP for the year. As Friday's match tomorrow, Carricks, it is going to be Secret Wales versus GARM. That should be a lot of fun.
That is going to be a great one. We love VCS derbies. We love when these Vietnamese teams match up into each other. And I've been waiting to watch GARM, see how they shape up here in the playoff matches.
Well, before we get into too much, give me a quick prediction. Who do you think is going to win that series tomorrow? Maybe we'll give people a little teaser into our mathematical prediction minds.
Well, look, as much as I'd love to be a cool and spicy caster, I'm going to predict Team Secret Wales. I think losing to CFO was just a bump on the road. I think they'll be heading back to finals.
Yep, I agree. I'm going to say the same thing. I won't give my full score, but I'll say, yeah, it was pretty good. But that's all from us, Carricks, isn't it?
That it is. That is another night of LCP in the books, a dominant one for CFO. Thank you so much for being here with me, Pike. We will see you all tomorrow for more action.